is 2020 Sports, brought to you by Consumer Tire, driving you forward with trusted brands like Bridgestone and Firestone. Fast, reliable service to keep you moving. Not a good night for the Cavaliers. They lose to the Lakers 127-113. Head coach Kenny Atkinson. The Cavs gave LA way too many second chances.
Their offensive rebounding really hurt us. They had 9 offensive rebounds in the first half, and we lost that physical battle to begin with. Then you're in a hole, right? You're playing pretty good D, and they get the offensive rebound put back.
Jared Allen, 18 points. James Harden with 17, however. Donovan Mitchell, just 10 points. Evan Mobley with 6 for the Lakers. Luka Doncic, back from his one-game suspension, 42 points and 12 assists. LeBron James, 14 points in the win for the Lakers, go along with 6 assists, 5 rebounds. LeBron also set another NBA record in being part of the victory. James has now got the most wins in league history, combining both the regular season and the playoffs. LeBron's got 1,229 wins, passing Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Guardians lose in Los Angeles, fall to the Dodgers 4-1. Shohei Ohtani, 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 1 base hit with strikeout 6. Guardians had only 2 hits for the entire game, including an RBI single by Brian Rocchio in the top of the 9th. Tanner Bobby got the start for the Guardians. He gives up 1 run over 4 innings. In the top of the first last night, Chase DeLauder fouled a pitch off his left foot, had to leave the game. Guardians say X-rays came back negative. DeLauder is dealing with a bruise. It was already planned that DeLauder was not going to play in tonight's series finale against the Dodgers. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The Afternoon Drive.
I'm going to be interested in Shedeur versus Deshaun. If that's the camp battle, and it seems like we've been trending towards that direction for a while, I am going to be interested in how this is laid out. There's not a bone in my body that thinks he'll play better football than Shedeur, which means, like last year, when Dylan Gabriel beat out Shedeur Sanders in many ways, all I kept telling everybody was, something's smelly. Something's off here. I don't like this. I got a feeling I'm going to have that same antenna raised up this offseason.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
I wouldn't say they're going to be evenly dispersed, but we'll definitely disperse them to give ourselves a chance to at least evaluate who we have on the roster, whoever that might be. Basically what we've seen in the past and where the year ended last year.
So does that mean Shedeur gets the ball for the reps?
I'm not ready to say that yet. I just said the reps can't be divided up evenly. There's no chance it can be divided up evenly, at least on a daily basis.
What's been your first impressions of Shedeur, and how do you evaluate him in the quarterback competition?
Well, it's too early to really evaluate him, other than it's been great that he's been in the building. It's refreshing to see a player that recognizes where he's at and where he wants to get to.
And Gabriel hasn't been in the building?
As far as I know, he has not. I have not seen Dylan yet. Deshaun was in early when I got the job, so I got a chance to sit down with him.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Good morning. Ken Carman in with Coach Lance. Hi.
Good morning to you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Coach Lance is
Love
in.
being here.
This is, I don't know. I think some of us are going a little bit nuts here. It's weird because I always acquiesce to coaches, and so you're a coach, so I might just go, tell me more. And I don't want to. It's very odd because the guy who I'm always sitting across, it's usually he's got me ready to cut him with a shank in about 5 minutes into this. So I listened to the audio, and then I saw the audio. I saw the video of him having the audio of Todd Monken talking to the reporters. Did you get a vibe that he was a little annoyed by the series of questions that he was asked?
Yeah, it was 38 minutes of, like you said, it was just like he was almost like bothered that you would ask these type of questions. And the reason it was refreshing to me is because some of the questions that are asked to Browns coaches in the past is because of where they've been.
Yes.
And I like the fact that Todd Monken's like, no, we don't give equal reps. We're going to give these guys a look, and we're going to give them the looks and the coverages and the blitzes, but the top guys got to play, and that should be refreshing because hopefully, it's not what you say, it's what you do. And that's how you turn the culture, which is the most overused word in football. But that's what they got to kind of do. So, yeah, he looked irritated, and I wasn't really mad about it. I thought it was a good thing for him.
So a lot of us, and this is going to be tedium for a lot of fans here, a lot of us are going to be trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback because I think there's some people who just want the best quarterback to be on the field, and I think that if Todd Monken wants to decide that, that's fair. I think there's a lot of people who really do not want to deal with Deshaun Watson playing for the football team. I think there's some people who'd love to see him take another quarterback and be done with all of them. It is really a mixed bag with everybody else out there. My processing's a little mixed up here. Oh, and I know I don't want me to do some inside baseball. I know it's not your fault. Hopefully we can get that figured out in the back. I think for Todd Monken, I think that this was really the first foray into the tedium that happens. And I think you just hit it right there when you said, well, they're not really asking questions. How did you put it the past? You're talking where the Browns have been. Mm-hmm. Like, these are questions that were asked day in and day out and day in and day out to his predecessor. And you would get no answer. And so he would just say, I understand the question, and you move on. Todd's going to be a little bit different, and I think Todd was a little bit annoyed going, man, we're really going over the amount of reps here. Like, yeah, we're going to go over the amount of reps here because it was the biggest deal ever in training camp last year. Like, he is going to be – I hope that this is refreshing to the point where there's a lot of things that I think are really dumb and that are actually done just for content. One of the main things that I think is dumb and done for content is camp stats. The charts of where they're at as far as, if you disagree, fine, let me know.
Oh, no, I could not be. I dislike it more than you dislike it. There's no context. It's, to each his own. That makes no sense to me. Camp stats make no sense.
Well, you're going to have to like him this year because he told you yesterday, like, everybody's going to get different reps. You're not getting equal reps now, and there's no way. Last year when we had the 4 quarterback race, and there was a way to go, well, this guy got to have reps with the 1s, and this guy got to have reps with the 2s, and this guy got to have reps at Baldwin Wallace, right? Like, they were all different, and there was a way to read it. So now he's basically telling you, watch the reps. Whoever's getting the most reps, that's the guy that's the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Well, and right? I hope he's going to be a little bit more openly communicative because it was a mess last year. And I think it led the fan base astray, and it really turned the fan base against Kevin. Not just because you were losing games. Eventually, you got turned on Kevin because you were losing football games. But I think a lot of it turned the fan base on Kevin because a lot of people wanted to be quote unquote fair. It wasn't fair. I do think it wasn't handled very well whatsoever. The quarterback competition, whatever, training camp, et cetera, et cetera. I just look at this. I think it's lowest common denominator. I think it's flat out dumb. I think it makes for dumber fans. I think it's the most unimportant thing that you could possibly find. And the fact that I have to acknowledge it in some fashion as a host bothers me to my core because I'm doing everything I can. I understand that we get accused of a lot of things, and a lot of it's blamed right on us. If you think what I said is stupid, well, I'm sorry, but that's what I meant at the time. I didn't do it to get you all worked up and going. And I think camp stats when it says, Watson was, 6 for 14. But Deshaun, but Shador, he was 10 of 12. It's like, no, we're asking him to do different things with the offense. There's a different ownership of the offense, a different understanding with the offense. We're seeing what they could do. Do you know what checks to do? I mean, Coach, you know more than I do about this. Okay, so if you can explain it better, you can explain it better. But I already know what road we're about to go down. And it started yesterday. Introductory press conferences and interviews and little interviews and things like that to get to know you. That's fine. We haven't done anything when it comes to football. Now he's talking football. Now he's being asked about reps. And I thought he came off visibly annoyed by some of the questions he was being asked on. We're talking about fairness and reps and on what planet? The guy's been coaching 37 years. On what planet do they have the equal amount of reps for everybody? It's almost like asking the equal amount of blueberries in each muffin in casino. Like it's an impossible thing to do.
Well, and first of all, the idea of fair goes away, right? So people say, well, Shador didn't get his look. Well, they drafted a guy in 3rd round. That's where they thought he was the guy. So they went away from. There's no fair. The other thing for me is the idea that, if you're taking camp stats, there's no context. And what I mean by that, when you look at those things and it says 10 for 14 or it says 10 for 12, where was it? Was it 7-on-7? Did they start the drill? I remember reading where Shador was 3 for 5 and such. It was at the 3-yard line. So when he throws 3 touchdowns, they started at the 3-yard line. So there's no context of pressure. There's no context of what the drill was. There's no context. Do they know what the defense is giving them? Because they will do that. Say, hey, we're going to run this route. It's cover 2. Here's what we're looking for. Try to squeeze it in here so you can get a visual. There's absolutely no context. And really, it doesn't matter until you get live bullets for me as a quarterback. So that's the issue. There's no context, and it means there's nothing that means less to me than camp stats. Because of the fact you don't know what they're doing in camp and what's being scheduled.
So he was asked about reps, and he was asked about a bunch of different little things there, and he handled the questions, I think, as best he could, even though I thought he was a little bit annoyed. We'll talk about him missing the coach's big photo coming up here in just a bit. But there was something there that I don't want to call out somebody else too soon. I'm not trying to call him out. I think we're being, well, naive's a strong word. I don't know if I want to use naive.
It's strong.
Okay, I'm an emotional boy. I want Shedeur Sanders to start the season because I think I have to be a conduit with the fans. Part of this is entertainment. Part of this is real life, okay? I get that. I want Shedeur to start the season. I can't make Todd Monken start Shedeur to start the season. And Jonathan wants Shedeur to start the season. Is Nick on Jonathan? Or is Lima wants Shedeur to start the season. Is Nick on Jonathan's side with that or no? I'm just trying to keep everybody's ducks in a row here. Do you know, Coach?
I don't know with Nick. I think he's pretty even keel. I think he's more in the get a winning quarterback.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we're going to find one this year,
sure.
So you kind of got to go with what you have.
Sure.
Do we know where midday stands? Are they?
I have not ran my poll with midday yet. I will as soon as I see them today.
Is Jeff still talking?
I will put Jeff in the corner and go, you give me an answer now, Jeff Phelps.
Will he give is it still Jake Locker with him, or which way does he want to take it?
He loves him. He also likes Matt McGloin.
Matt McGloin. I heard this from Jonathan, and I go, man, I've tried to will an answer before that hasn't worked, and this is. I'll let you guys hear it. I think this is emotional Kenny Carman 101. Hit it.
Because I can hear other shows tomorrow, for instance. I can hear them already discussing it and being like, well, yeah, Todd Monken might have given some credence to the idea that it should Shedeur out of the gate, but he walked it back. It wasn't really serious. Okay, I know what I heard. And what I heard, Nick, was somebody that seemed very enthused at the idea that Shedeur Sanders is in his office a lot and made a point of it to mention how little Deshaun Watson had been there and how he hadn't really seen Dylan Gabriel. I don't think those things were an accident. And at this point, when you have a spot with Monken the way that they do, where he's so raw to all this and he's so new to all this, I don't think he knows not to say these type of things quite yet.
So I know my stance on that. I want to hear you first, though. You're the guy who's done the job. So when you hear that from Jonathan, what do you think?
Well, here's the thing that the reason going back to him being bothered, these questions bother him because really what it comes down to when you've been in, he's at Georgia and then he's with the Ravens. He's got a great quarterback. He's got a very stable organization, both in college. He's got Hardball. He's got Kirby Smart. So these questions, I think, bother him because it's the best guy who's going to play. And when people hear whatever they want to hear, the thing that I want to hear from Todd Monken as a coach is the best guys are going to play. I'm not worried about the future. I'm not worried about development. We'll do that in the offseason. I'm worried about week one. That's why I don't do that's why I like the idea of you can win every game. Because if you say you're going to win 9, you've automatically told yourself you're going to lose 8. That's ridiculous to me. And that's kind of where I think Todd Monken is with all these questions. And when people say about Shedeur and when people talk, like for him, it's no, it's not going to be equal. Mm-hmm. No, it has no chance of being equal. That's not how football works. And he's got kind of an old school vibe, which I really love. And in terms of we're going to figure out who the best guy is and he's going to play. And I don't care what anybody says. And he's going to do lots of things that irritate a lot of people because he doesn't care. And hopefully he's to the point where that includes the GM and the owner. Because I'm the guy on the field making these decisions, not you guys. And that's, for me, that's going to allow him to have success. Until that happens, until the coach is making more decisions, I think the Browns struggle.
So the first thing is, when it comes to Shedeur always being in the office, Shedeur should be in the facility as much as he can. There's a lot of things that he has to learn, especially with the new offense. Shedeur recognizes this. What this is doing, and for Shedeur fans, this should make you feel a lot better, is that he's doing everything he can to know that he's got to really hit the ground running here. This is going to be a very important OTA. And so he's got to have the idea that he knows the offense, and he's got to have the idea that he can grow with this new offense because it's going to be different for him. So him being in the office is great. I still don't think that means anything to him being the week 1 starter.
Well, perception is reality. So the idea from the outside world is, Shador's doing everything he can. That necessarily doesn't mean Watson is and Gabriel aren't doing the same thing. Obviously with the technology, you can learn all this stuff. It doesn't mean that you can't do it because you're not in the building. But perception is reality in football. And people want to see their guy making all the efforts, not doing anything else. He's only football. And when you're not there, that's the kind of the vibe people get. You're not doing your stuff. I don't agree with that, and I think it's important that he's there, and I think it's important that his teammates see him there. But in reality, if he's not making plays to Todd Monken's, liking, then the next guy's got to get in my opinion.
So he might have. I'm not gonna lie. I think that being in the office to some level in OTA day 1 might give you a little bit more. But if Deshaun Watson goes out there and throws the ball all over the place and guys are catching it and it looks better and he has a better grasp of the offense, that's going to change day 2. The same thing with Dylan Gabriel. There's a lot of times where I could be like, he's a go-getter. He's a tough football player. He might not be the best football player I have. Maybe let's find a place for this guy on the field. Except he doesn't play safety. He doesn't play outside linebacker. I can't put him on special teams. He's a quarterback. Only one can play at one time. And so I got to put the best one out there. So I can't just go, boy, this guy's going to be a good player. Let's hold on to him. Let's develop him. And until we develop him, let's put him on kickoff. Like, there's none of that type of thing. So it will help, but it can only take you far enough. The other thing that I didn't care for, and this is a real Kenny Carman hope from Jonathan, where it's like, hey, Todd Monken, he's maybe he spoke out of turn. Maybe he said a little bit too much. Maybe he doesn't understand that. It's like, man, he's been getting paid to do this, I think, for 37 years. And so he's been at big-time college football since Oklahoma State in 2002. He's been in and out of the NFL ever since. Like, he's been at high levels of football for a very long period of time, for longer than a lot of people who are on their way being taken to school right now or getting ready for school right now have been alive. I don't think that he does it. I don't think there's many words to get away from him. And I don't think those words got away from him yesterday as far as what to say, what not to say. I don't think it's Freddie. I think he's the opposite of Freddie. That's why I think he didn't get along with Freddie at all in 2019. Because I think that he didn't have a lot of respect for Freddie, and I think that he was really turned off by everything, and I thought that the offense was a mess and everything was a mess.
Well, he's got a type A personality, and when you have a type A personality as a coach, if you practice something all week, that's what I've heard Todd Monken say about Freddie Kitchens a ton. We do something during the week, and then Sunday he would do his own thing. There's nothing more maddening as a coach because you're giving up 60, 80 hours a week, and you're doing all these things, and then the guy who's calling the plays changes it. So you lose everybody else's investment. You lose everybody else's care because what it really comes down to is you're making the final decision. That's what happened with Freddie, besides some of the unprofessionalism that I've heard about. But for me, I just think Todd Monken has to come in, and he's got to demand things that Kevin didn't. And that's hard, really hard to do. But I think it's easier to do when you're older. Like you said, 37 years. He's going to come in, and if he doesn't, they're going to go down the same path, in my opinion.
I hope it was a good haircut for Todd Monken. And at 6:44, if a host on the radio station is going to rip me, they better put my name on it. That and the unfair and unfortunate side of Chase DeLauder. It's coming up in 5 on The Fan. Friends can...
48 hours. Google The Young Team and start packing.
There's only one place to hear breaking Browns news. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
.720 today. Justin Ladd is going to join us on the show. He's one of my absolute favorite baseball people. Locked On Guardians podcast. He knows the minor leagues inside and out. So if you want to know when Travis Bazan is coming up, 7:20 is the time to be paying attention, okay? Coach Lance is with me. Can I get something off my chest for everybody here? I'm going to get it off my chest.
Let's hear it.
Shohei Ohtani was great last night. Chased a lauder. Thank God the x-rays were negative. This is the unfair, unfortunate thing that when you ricochet one off your back ankle, I mean, that's just bad luck. And the guy's had bad luck. And he's got a big swing. Maybe we'll ask Justin if there's anything that can be done about that. It's probably just bad luck, and that's it. He's been fantastic with a player like that who gets you excited, but you know he's injured all the time, so you always have to worry about something like that. That's not my issue here. Shohei Ohtani was great last night. All right, credit where it's due. The Emmanuel Clase fiasco has soured me towards Shohei Ohtani. Guys, something stinks. And I don't know what it is, but I got one guy who's getting ready to face 65 years in federal prison. When is this? Is this in October when his trial is? I thought it was supposed to be in July. It's supposed to be either October or November. Like, that's it. It's over. Like, the season's done. He'll probably never play professional baseball again, at least in the major leagues. That's it. You have Luis Ortiz. Does he face the 65 years? These guys are facing, they're not going to do 65 years in federal prison, but they're facing something pretty stiff. Meanwhile, I got a player who is much better than both of them combined, and a lot of them. He is a phenom. He is a great player. Something stinks to me. That's all. When you just sit there and you blame the interpreter, and the interpreter does a jail sentence, and there's all these other things, and I'm going, hey, you know what? I want to believe Major League Baseball because they have no track record of covering anything up, except they do, like in the 90s when they just looked the other way during the steroid scandal and then made everybody become an arbiter of what morality is, and it's messed up baseball ever since with a lot of fans out there. And fine. You want to leave Shohei Ohtani out there and he wants to put a couple of beans out there on his favorite team or whatever he's doing, that's okay. But we already did this with Pete Rose, and to his dying day, we argued whether or not he should be eligible for the Hall of Fame. And I don't want to be doing this with Shohei Ohtani, but I'm sorry, every time I see it now, I think of him. Excuse me, every time I see him now, I can't help it. I think of gambling. And some of it is because of the Emmanuel Clase. A lot of it's because of the Emmanuel Clase stuff. Because if we're alleging that he threw bad pitches in the postseason for a team that hasn't won a World Series in 78 years, it's soured me towards the whole thing. And I got to give credit where credit's due. How this usually goes is that I either think of it, or there's people around me who are very good at planting a little seed and just covering it up and giving it a little water and watching it grow at the top of my head. And there's a lot of things that I can't even say on air. Opinions of other things, that not even sports, that Lima or Keith or Owen will walk by and just drop a little seed and cover it up with dirt and just keep on walking. And eventually it turns into this great big redwood that I'm going to explode about online. And it's happened with Shohei Ohtani. Owen was the one who did it. Owen kept bringing up the gambling last year. And it wasn't like he was like, oh, here we go again with Owen on the game. No, it's just one little line here and there, and then the Class A stuff blows up, and I'm going, you know what? I understand it would hurt Major League Baseball, and part of that reason is why I think they're more than likely to just go, yeah, it's the interpreter. You found a fall guy, move on. But I'm bothered by it. I'm bothered by it, and every time I see him, I'm thinking of it now. It's almost made him a villain to me. I'm sorry, it's true.
Well, when you think about
true.
it, it's an easy way out, but you said it best, Shohei Ohtani. And last night, I don't know, but they're comparing him to Babe Ruth. So when you start getting in certain levels, I feel like things are swept under the. I just don't understand that amount of money that he didn't know anything. That just, for me, once again, I don't think of it negatively. Class A and Ortiz bother me just because of the playoff thing.
Yes, of course.
That's what gets me. Now, during the season, I don't want to say it's, useless or it didn't bother me, but the playoffs, that bothers me. To say Ohtani didn't know anything, I just find that hard to believe. And once again, I'm with you.
But they're not the same player.
No.
But you got to, Owen, you helped plant this seed in my mind because every time I see it.
I think Shohei Ohtani's great. What he did in the playoffs last year, amazing. What he did in the World Baseball Classic's amazing.
Yes.
I'm glad that his interpreter took the fall for him, and that's cool. I wish that Emmanuel Clase had
and
an
there's
interpreter.
The seed. And there's the seed.
He's really good at baseball, guys.
Why can't we just? I don't want to say I don't want to turn into Chris Carter. Why can't we just find a fall guy?
But last Memorial Day, I got to take my kid over to Progressive Field and watch him hit first pitch home run. It was amazing.
That's it.
And had he got banned from baseball, I wouldn't have got to see that.
And that's it. And I have to deal with that. Maybe I should just accept it and move on. But when they're winning back-to-back World Series and he is must-see TV for everybody, maybe I just have to understand that. I argue. Remember, we did the ABS argument back on Monday, and I was arguing with Coach about, because Lima wanted full robot umpires. He goes, this is a waste of time. Let's just do full robot umpires.
Strike zones.
And I'm going, no, for strike zones. And I'm going, no, this is great, even though the Guardians aren't very good at it, but at picking the pitches or what to challenge and everything. But this adds more strategy. This adds a little bit more drama. I think this holds the umpires more accountable. It makes the umpires a little bit more of a character, which probably isn't very good, but either way, you can still have fun with that. There's a lot more entertaining about it. And I'm thinking, and that's why Major League Baseball is more than happy to move on with Shohei Ohtani, because he's an international superstar, a powerhouse, being compared to Babe Ruth, for crying out loud. And Emmanuel Clase will be forgotten in the annals of history, depending on if he ends up like Mariano Rivera. And he's never going to end up like Mariano Rivera, and he probably wasn't before all this happened. So they have no problem with sending him to the possibility of federal prison while Shohei Ohtani goes out there in his appointment viewing for Owen and his kids, and honestly for me and my kids someday. Because when the Dodgers come to town, how am I supposed to say no to Shohei Ohtani? How am I supposed to say no to that, Lance? I can't do it. So now I have to sit here and just deal with a situation where my best closer might have been tanking it on purpose, which sucks, which is a horrific thing. It makes him public enemy number one. At least Jose Mesa was trying to win baseball games. And the second part of it, which makes it even worse, is that a guy that everybody likes, Cade Smith, I don't know if he can really handle the role right now.
First of all, not just, you said my best closer. It's not my best closer, which is, he is, but he was the best closer in baseball, and he played on my team. And
okay, there you go. Yes.
Now he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. And he never will again. Let's call it what it is.
Right.
Okay? And
you don't think he ever plays again?
Not in Major League Baseball.
No, okay.
I don't know if he gets cleared, if he can even come back to Cleveland after that.
No, his locker's been cleaned out, which that isn't the only thing I know, but no, you can't.
No, once they take the nameplate down, you don't get to go back to that locker.
Once you've questioned.
That's right. Nameplate is the key.
Once you've questioned whether or not the guy has thrown pitches legitimately, you can't come back unless everybody believes him. And I would say a lot of Cleveland fans don't. Would you say the majority of Cleveland fans don't believe Emmanuel Clase? Or would think they believe that there's reason to suspect he's guilty, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And when you mention the playoffs, it's like, nope, he can't rejoin this team. That ain't happening.
Well, he can't be as good as he was. Like, that's how when you think about, like, you're mad because Ortiz and Clase, I get mad because I look at, I never thought of it. I'm like, oh, he played terribly. But now all I think about, well, yeah, he played terribly because he was throwing and purposely missing pitches. I mean, he can't be as good as he was and then be as bad as he was in the playoffs. That's where I'm at with it. So, I don't know. And Shohei Ohtani, the bottom line is, if you're that good, people let you do things, and that's the reality of it.
I feel bad saying this. I feel better that I got it off my chest. I understand the superstardom that Shohei Ohtani is. I understand that stars in professional sports get away with a lot more than what other guys do. But it just kind of sucks. That's all. And anytime I see him, I think of nefarious things.
Do you think differently if he's on the Guardians? Do you think differently? Are you like, I don't care, he's my guy?
Oh, yeah, if the Guardians had him, yeah, that's part of it. But now I have to deal with this guy who's just, it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
It's an incredible sight to see, and I would take my kids to go see him. And I don't think I would be one of these guys who go, no, you don't want to like Shohei Ohtani. Let me tell you why. I'd let them figure it out for themselves. because I don't have to play. My team doesn't have to play him all the time. The next time you would play him is a homestand here and then a World Series. Not like he's playing for the White Sox or anything like that. So I guess I have to deal with it. And how I have to deal with it is just to sit here and use a 620 segment to stop my feet and be a little bit upset that, I have a situation with my closer right now, which is kind of up in the air, that no one wants to say it because it's still early April. It's April 1st. My situation with my closer's up in the air, but it threw a kink in everything here. And meanwhile, LA fans get to celebrate possibly a third straight world championship. That part is not a lot of fun. But either way, I'll take what it is. I wanted to get it off my chest. We'll find out more about Chase DeLauder coming up here at 7:20. And when does Bazana come on up? Well, we'll talk to Justin Lauda coming up at 7:20 this morning. Also, Nick Baumgartner going to join us from The Athletic. Guys, I have no idea what to do at 6 because the safest pick might be the stupidest pick. That coming up at 7 o'clock. And if you're going to be a host on this radio station and you're going to rip me, I want you to put my name on it. Ken Carman, almost called him Anthony Lima. Coach Lance in for Tone, and that person ripping me coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
Finding great candidates. more. Know the risks. Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org. Brought to you by the Cuyahoga County Problem Gambling Coalition and the Adams Board. In crisis now, dial 988.
This is the only place to trust for gas talk anytime you want. Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
$7:20, Justin Latta going to join us on the show. We'll talk Guardians with him. Coming up at 7, the safest pick could be the stupidest pick. All that and... Okay, so Todd Monken missed it with a haircut. What are you going to do? He missed the picture for a hair. Do you believe that he missed the picture for a haircut,
No.
the coach's picture?
I do not.
You don't believe he missed it because he had a haircut?
I do not. Absolutely not. I just think it's an easy thing to say.
What do you think he was doing?
I don't know. I just think he's not interested. I'm trying to be as positive as I can with Monken. I think he's not interested in all the nonsense, the picture, all this stuff. I'm thinking of my dad, God rest his soul. Like, my dad could care less if there was a picture, like the picture day where you have to wear I think he just doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's all football all the time. That's my thought. And I'm sticking to it, but no, I don't think he missed it. I don't think it was an accident.
This was on purpose.
I just don't think he cares, and I like that. To be honest with you, I want a football guy. I like football guys.
Well, they're all football guys.
But,
Sirianni's a football guy. He was there.
But you know what I'm saying. Like, this is a new guy. He's. I don't want to say he's old because he's closer to my age than he's not. But you're talking about a guy who's waited a long time. You just said it, 37 years.
Yeah.
I just don't think any of this. Like, he is. I'm hoping when they hired him, he has said, I have non-negotiables. I'm in charge of this. I'm in charge of this. I don't care about this stuff. This other stuff I don't care about. That's where I'm at.
Do you? It is a little odd. Has Sean McVay been in the picture before? Because Sean McVay was the other guy who missed the picture. Then we're talking about the league. So at the NFL league meetings, they have a picture every single year. And we found out yesterday, we found out yesterday that he wasn't in the picture, and then we found out yesterday afternoon a reason to why Todd Monken wasn't in the picture. And the reason Todd Monken wasn't in the picture he gave is that he was getting a haircut, and he missed the picture by 20 minutes. And I just took him for his word. And then there were some people going, I don't believe that. And you are saying you don't believe. So he just doesn't want to be in the photo?
I just don't think, once again, I just think he has this old school mentality where he is, he's a little bit testy. He's a little bit on edge. You saw it with the answers yesterday.
Yeah, he was a little prickly yesterday, which I kind of liked.
Yeah. So you get this idea that he is not for the nonsense. He is not for what we wear, how we look, what we do. We are about winning football games. So when he says about like the quarterback play, of course no, it's not equal reps. We're playing the best guy. No, I don't want to go this. Not that he's purposely saying I don't want to go this picture. I just don't think that stuff means anything to him, and I don't mind that at all. With a guy who's coming into a situation like this, there's got to be a change of pace, and he is a change of pace. I'm not saying it's going to work.
What did he do? Did he just go hide? I can't imagine.
Well, McVay was there the last 2 years. I saw those. I just looked those up.
Do you think McVay was looking for a partner to be like, hey, let's skip this picture?
Maybe he's found his guy.
Maybe he found his buddy. Maybe that's it.
I just don't.
Maybe for years when they've played each other at the handshakes, he's like, hey, when you get the call up one day, we're going to skip the picture.
We're going to skip the picture over here.
Well, that's what I think. But the way that's the way I think. I think he thinks of the picture like that. He just doesn't care, and I'm okay with that.
If I were a head coach, it is one of the things that I think I would do just because I'm a head coach.
If I'm in my if it's my first one in my 20s, but he doesn't carry 60.
One little thing, like Andy Reid is in the picture, and we talk about Andy Reid and how he looks every year, and the Tommy Bahama and everything like that. He's in the picture. I don't understand why they have to look direct into the sunlight every single year. That's always odd to me. I don't know why you can't have it in a room.
Cast the shadows behind.
It's just so odd. But either way. These are all football men. These are all dedicated football. I mean, there's been a couple of goofballs that have been in there in the years past.
Doesn't he give you the old school vibe? I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I'm going to wear the bike shorts. I'm going to pull the socks up. I just get that vibe. Once again, it reminds me of my dad that I'm focused on one thing. He could have been talking to someone on the phone about football and lost track of time. That's those kind of guy those guys are, in my opinion. So
when I do, this is not in the same stratosphere, but I'm going to try to correlate it in some way. I don't like going into press boxes. It's not my thing. I don't like sitting at press row. That ain't my deal. I I don't have any problem with media members. Well, there's one who has a problem with me here. But I don't have any problem with media members. I'd rather just be either in with the fans or I'd rather just go home. I have no use for a press box. I have no use for a free hot dog. I don't care for it. I'm uncomfortable. The only time I've been comfortable in a press box is in the play-by-play booth with guys I know very, very well. Okay? And just sitting in the back and enjoying it and moving on. That would be the only correlation I would have. Like, I don't want to be in any of the, like, here's the Browns press, there's the Browns press.
Yeah, you're not being disrespectful about it. It's just where you're at.
It's just I know who I am, and that's it. That's the only way I try to correlate it. But if it were my first year, and I'm like, all right, I'm at the fan in Cleveland. Yeah, I went to the press box, and
this guy's callous, though. This guy is callous.
Yeah,
he's 60. He's
He's
calloused.
60.
He's just calloused, and I just think he's got
I was 25. That's true.
He's got the right, for me, he's got the right vibe of, this is going to be hard. He's already made it very clear he doesn't like press. He made it very clear that he's going to speak his mind. He's made it very clear about these things. And for me, that's a sign of confidence.
Yeah.
Now, he's got to win games. That comes down to it. But I'm okay with the start of it for me.
Which I'm getting a text from our boss, like, don't let Ken speak out of both sides of his mouth. He hasn't been in a picture of the company party in 7 years. I haven't been able to be there because we always hold it on a Wednesday, and we have the Cleveland Browns preview show on a Wednesday during football season. So I can't come to the party and deal with everybody at the party. I go to everything else. Ask me some of the other get-togethers that my co-host won't go to around here. Either way, we're getting off where I wanted to go. If you're going to rip me, use my name when you rip me.
I would say this, and I've had people say winning less with Shedeur is better than winning more with Deshaun, and I just have to disagree. And the reason I like what has been said about Deshaun Watson is that everything that's happened in the past that absolutely means nothing. And that's a good thing, and that's good for everybody. Again, this is a ripple effect of what happened when you get rid of your head coach. But for me, when people say he's going to look good in practice and he'll look better than Shedeur, then that's a problem for Shedeur because you're right, Daryl. They're not getting hit. They have red shirts on. They're not getting touched. So that's the opportunity where Shedeur's got to look better because there is no live bullets, and that's an issue. So for me, I've looked at this as more of a positive, even though people have pushed back. This is, if he's the best guy, I'm not looking to develop. I'm not looking to do all these things. I'm looking to win week one. And if Deshaun Watson gives me the best chance to win week one, then I'm going with Deshaun Watson. And I like Shedeur, and I like Dylan, and I don't really care who the quarterback is. But for me, it's not and all the shrapnel and everything that's happened, that's all real with Deshaun. Doesn't matter if he gets healthy. If he gets healthy, he wins the job. If there is a true competition. I don't, how they do these things, we'll see. I'm looking forward to see how Todd Monken runs his practice.
All you had to do was say my name.
I've heard so much.
Why did my phone start buzzing the second you said it? He could. The producers at your show yesterday, as well as other producers at this station, couldn't cut it fast enough. Like they were trying to pull your words out of your mouth as you were saying them and record them.
Well, I'm gonna honestly. That was more of what I've heard about the Deshaun and about the Shedeur and what the idea that people are okay with developing Shedeur and let's see what he's got and I'm not okay with that. I want a guy who's going to win week one, and I don't care about what happens. I don't care about what happened in the past. And the point is, I don't really think when you get rid of everybody was happy for Shedeur that they got rid of Kevin. Well, there's also the idea that with the new guy, he doesn't care about what happened with he's only played 19 games and he's been hurt. All those things are true. If he's the best guy, he plays week one. Honestly, my friend, that was not a personal attack.
You should have. Why didn't you? You should have attacked me.
Well, I'm not.
But if I say something stupid, go ahead and let it ride.
Once again, though, I don't think it's stupid. It's a difference in philosophy. Some people want to see development. I don't want to see any of that. I want to see wins. I want to see all that other stuff. When people say winning's the ultimate medicine, there's not a more true statement in the world. And if you can win, everything else will figure itself out.
So what I like about it. And why I do wish you would have said something because the reason why
I didn't know that was coming. That was very well done.
The reason why this ain't my first rodeo. The reason why I knew it was about me, and I'm not trying to make it about me, but I knew it was about me, is that you texted me while I was saying it on the show.
Okay.
You texted me while I was saying it.
But in my thought process of saying it last night, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get Ken. That wasn't my thought.
Well, you should have done it.
I didn't. I'm not. I guess I'm not resourceful enough. I got to learn I got to be quicker in my wit. As my wife say.
This is my problem. I can't fight you on this, which is not going to be a lot of fun. I can't do it because I'm trying to look at it from both ways. I don't need to dig, and this is a bigger issue that I'm going to have to get to on the other side. I made amends during the season last year. Why am I trying to save something that I didn't cause a problem to? I did not want Deshaun Watson. I did not want to get into this mess. I am on the record for it. I thought they might bring in a veteran and compete with Baker that year. That's it. That's old news. I brought it up several times. But because of that, I'm thinking, I don't need to dig out of this. They do, I don't. I'm trying to look at it from 30,000 feet. I can't argue with somebody who's on the sidelines, though, whose job it is to get 53 people. If Todd Monken, or you know what, say any coach, even coaches that I've not got along with, it's rare, but say the coaches I didn't get along with, I know you have one right in your mind. I can't argue with that guy about trying to win now. I can't do it, okay? It's impossible. It can be done in other sports. I don't really think it can be done in baseball. It's done in the NBA. I understand it's done in the NBA. But in football, I'm hard-pressed to disagree with you. But when I don't have faith in the other guy, in Deshaun Watson, if I don't have faith, then that means I just don't want to have those other conversations. I want to talk about that in 5 minutes, as well as the safest pick. It could very well be the stupidest pick coming up at the end of the month. Nick Baumgartner going to join us at 8 o'clock from The Athletic. We'll talk about the 6 overall. And Justin Latta, 720. Do we have a true number one? And I ain't talking about wide receivers or quarterbacks when Justin joins us. Ken Carman, Coach Lance in for Tone. Take us with you to work on the free app, as well as watch us on YouTube Live for absolutely free. Northeast Ohio.
right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Get the latest Cavs news up until tip-off. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. Cleveland's Sports Radio. 92.3 The Fan.
Just Atlanta, 7:20, Locked On Guardians. Do we have a true number one? And obviously, if I were talking Guardians, I ain't talking wide receivers, I ain't talking QBs. More on that coming up at 7:20 with the great Justin Latta. Coach Lance in for Tone today. So when you brought up the losing thing, so I talked myself into a box. And I know there's a, Coach, don't let him up. Don't let him up. Listen, I'll say it like this. If, like, Lima had a diabolical question. Do you remember the diabolical question from weeks and weeks and weeks ago about making the playoffs with Deshaun Watson? And I'm going, guys, if I'm making the playoffs, what do you want me to say? My hands are tied. But my whole issue of it is that I got to look at, I can't tell a football coach to go lose games. It'll never come out of my mouth. I can never say, if you want to call me an idiot, say whatever you want, fine. I'm going to stand down. I'm never going to tell Coach Lance or any other high school football coach or any other college coach or any other pro coach that they got to go out and lose games. It ain't going to happen, okay? My issue with it is that I ain't a coach at that level, at any. So I can talk about it from 30,000 feet. What's best for the Browns? I don't want to lose games. I never want to lose games. Maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Maybe I just want a perfect thread and needle, Lance. But, damn it. Like, I don't think Deshaun Watson's worth it anymore. And I remember the conversations that we have, the fights, everybody getting mad at each other, blocking each other on social media and all that. The fights to me about Shador are way easier than any of the fights we ever had about Deshaun Watson. And I'm thinking, if I don't think the guy's very good, and I don't, then what the hell is my point of me wasting my time with the guy? I ain't the head football coach of the team. It ain't my legacy that's right there. It's his. I understand that he's got to do what he's got to do. But to me, if I just get 9 wins and I don't make the playoffs here, what the hell did I accomplish? I don't. Maybe someone will trade for him later on, depending on what pick you can get back. Maybe you can do that. But I'm going, hey, I'd rather just kick the tires on the young one here. Or if you really wanted to, fine, get a guy in the 3rd round, bring him in, see what the hell he'll do by the end of the season, because they all end up playing for the Browns as it is anyway. Like, I am very, I think I know this season is probably going to go to the middle somewhere, because their schedule ain't that hard. Now, it's the NFL. Schedule is not that difficult. It'll probably go to the middle somewhere. Can I get something that's meaningful? I don't know if there's any such thing anymore as meaningful football with Deshaun Watson. At least I could have a conversation about the other guy. Even leave the other guy out. Say it was Dylan Gabriel. I'd rather win 7 with Dylan Gabriel than just go to the middle with a guy that's dramatically overpaid when it comes to picks. I don't care about his money. Dramatically overpaid when it comes to picks, and reminds fans of what could have been every single time. And what he reminds them of is failure for a football team and a lost generation of Cleveland Browns that could have been somebody.
Well, that's where the line for me has got to stop. So when I look at it, I go, that's great. That's in the past. I am figuring out, once again, and it sounded redundant, but again, I'll say it. What do I got to do to win week 1? And if I'm winning week 1, now are you saying if they're all equal, or are you saying that Watson's playing better than them in practice in preseason, but you're still going with the other two? Because then winning doesn't
No.
Okay.
I gotta accept what I accept.
Okay.
This is, and some people got it mixed up because everybody gets very defensive on the stuff online. Owen understood what I was saying. Even Lyman understood what I was saying. When I said yesterday that Kevin Stefanski was, and I said it 2 days in a row, I'll say it a third day. When I said Kevin Stefanski was Shador Sanders' best friend, people went crazy. And I go, no, he would have kept the status quo. Shador Sanders would have absolutely started week 1 if Kevin Stefanski was still here. Now you got a new head coach, and it's exactly how you said it. He's got to do what he can to win week 1. I'm fully believing that if Kevin Stefanski were still the head coach, I think Browns fans would be really out emotionally on this coming season. But you would have Shador Sanders starting week 1. And now that he's gone, I don't think that Todd Monken is some hero riding in on here. I think Todd Monken will look at, or not to the Shador fans, I think Todd Monken will walk right in here and go, who's my best quarterback? I don't think he cares to some level, like there's seriousness there. But ultimately, he's got to make the best pick for his football team. And if Deshaun Watson's whistling the ball all over the place, he's going to go ahead and he's going to pick Deshaun Watson. He is not going to care that Shedeur Sanders gave him a birthday present or was in the facility every single day. Those things mean something to be on the football team because he could look at him and go, yeah, you weren't ready to play last year and you got forced into it, and you ain't ready to play this year. Have a seat. We're going to go with the veteran.
Well, yeah, and once again, though, everything that has been talked about with Deshaun Watson has to do with he's only won 19 games. It's all in the past. And my point telling people is that I don't care if it's Shedeur or Deshaun or Dylan. It's starting now when he got hired. So everything, the 19 games, the injuries, that all means absolutely nothing to Todd Monken. At least I hope it doesn't. Because his goal, if I'm going to win, I'm going to find the guy who can understand my offense, can get us into the best play, can make sure the run understands fronts and coverages, all those football terms that we use, that we overuse as coaches. But that's really what it comes down to, because the arguments people give me all the time, he's been here for this long and has done nothing. All right. I don't care. What is he going to do for me this year? I'm the new coach. I'm going to put him in positions to win better than, because coaches, we think that. We think we can get most out of people. I just think the idea of what he's done in the past means nothing moving forward.
If he comes in, and I'm definitely speaking out of both sides of my mouth here. I want Shedeur Sanders to be the starter. I've said that several times. But you have a new head coach in here, and I can respect being a first-time head coach and maybe an only-time head coach, and him picking the best 53 for the roster, and him picking the best quarterback to be responsible to the other 52. And that's where I meant by when I said Kevin Stefanski was Shedeur Sanders' best friend. I think he would have just went with the flow.
Oh, I agree with you.
I think that there was a total loss of power there, and if they wanted Shedeur Sanders to start, he would start Shedeur Sanders. I think it's different now. You have a new person in there. You've hired this man. You had the entire interview process go out. You've decided to bring him in. You're going to naturally give him power. So you better hope. There's no campaign. He can sign as many footballs as he wants to. He can shake as many hands as he wants to. He can kiss as many babies as he wants to. He's a real nice guy, and the city seems to like him, okay? But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If the one guy's playing better, they're going to play the other guy. And I'm telling you, if it goes that way, there's going to be people who are just in a fit over it. Because I think that Todd Monken could very well look and go, yeah, we really like Shedeur Sanders coming out of the draft. Maybe we would have really drafted him coming out of there, but he didn't want to come here. And then he could have looked at the tape and goes, boy, when he was playing against us, he was not ready to go in there, and he still wasn't ready to really be playing. Maybe the red shirt conversation was right, and he could look at it and go, yeah, again, you weren't ready to go in last year. You got thrown into the mix. You're not ready to start this year. I'm not going to throw you into the mix. Take a breath, take a seat, take a breath, and get ready because he may very well come in. I think that's going to upset a lot of people. It would upset me just because I have to talk about Deshaun Watson. That's all. But if Deshaun Watson goes out there and wins 11 games, what am I going to say?
And it all goes away. And when we say winning is the key, that's what it really comes down to. The Browns, all the other things that, I always say during the season, I know when the Browns, working in this, a little bit in this business now, the problem is with the Browns is we don't talk football because there's always so much extra stuff. Yeah. And I think with Todd Monken, he's going to be a guy that's going to focus on football. So we talk about the picture, we talk about all these things. There's going to be a new focus on football. And I don't know if that hurt. Like, I agree with you. When Kevin left, that was the worst thing for Shedeur. And people are like, what do you mean? Because now it's an even keel. It's even slate. And who the better guy is going to play. And it can't be about, I told you so. And that's right now it's the I told you so. Or if I was to say, well, Shedeur had trouble protecting the football. He did. And people want to say, well, look at what Dylan did. I don't care.
I'm gonna use a mean-spirited word. And I don't mean to do it this way. I think Kevin became a patsy in so many ways. I don't think that Todd is going to be a patsy.
No. You would hope not.
He has seen the dysfunction here. He has admitted he was one of the creators of the dysfunction here in 2019, which does take a lot of guts to go out there and admit something like that. I got to give him a lot of credit for that. But if he's going to come in here, he's going to make his decision. If he's seen it, you've all seen it. Nobody here trusts the front office. He doesn't trust the front office either. He saw it in 19. You think he comes back to this situation thinking everything's going to be different? So he's going to make his decision, and if he's not going to make his decision, if he doesn't get to, I bet there's going to be plenty of ways that we know he didn't get to make that decision. I don't think we're going to have to sit there and listen to Mike Tomlin or listen to other guys on television, other guys who are around, kind of give us little hints on why a guy might not be able to make a decision like we had to listen to with Kevin last year. I think that he'll come right out and say it. And because of that, they're going to give him the power to go ahead and pick that quarterback. And the only thing I could hope for is that it's left to the football, which it will be, and that Shedeur Sanders outperforms Deshaun Watson. But the more I say it, the less likely I think it's going to be. It's not based on workout videos. It's based on you had a guy who was behind in the offense coming in last year. Now you've switched the offense. He's doing everything he can to catch up with that offense. Deshaun Watson has played at a high level in this league before, and when they go to OTAs, Lance, they're going to play against air. So you're going to go from no contact, drills, a little bit of 7-on-7, I'm guessing, to training camp. Well, if I can only go by the little bit of 7-on-7 where I'm just having guys tap each other, I think one guy's going to have the upper hand. I think it's going to end up being Deshaun Watson. I want it to be Shedeur, but I think it's going to end up being Deshaun. And I don't know how the fan base is going to take it because it's like, well, you better win. Because when Shedeur didn't win, it was like, all right, we just have to maybe move on. When Deshaun didn't win, it meant what we gave up to get Deshaun, and now there's all those feelings that come around again. Maybe it's been long enough for everybody. Maybe they won't care as much as they used to.
Well, here's the thing, and it's all those things are very, very true. And with Deshaun Watson, what you gave up is another thing that really hurts a lot of people. And the only way to kind of get out of that, like you're talking about, we're only going to see 7-on-7. That's where I'm interested to see Todd Monken's practice. Quarterbacks never get hit. That's the truth. However, the rest of the guys can play around, be a little bit more physical. And the thing that was hard last year when they said there was a quarterback competition, I didn't care if it was 2 guys or 4 guys. Everybody complained about that. It's that there's not live practice. So, for me, it's the idea, can they create competition out with the quarterbacks, and then people see that Deshaun's better or see that Shedeur's better so they can actually be happy with the decision.
Do we have a true number one? Ain't talking wide receivers, ain't talking QBs. Chase DeLauder, is he worth the risk with the injuries? And when does Travis Mazzana come up? Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. He answers all those questions and more in 5 minutes on The Fan.
weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Do we have a true number one? Not wide receivers, not QBs. I'm talking pitchers. Let's get to Justin Latta. He's the host of Locked On Guardians. He is all over social media. He is one of my most trusted baseball people. So I want to bring him on the show. Justin, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well. You know, I heard you on other shows. I'm glad to have you on with me and Coach Lance here. Coach Lance is filling in for Lima. All right. Tanner Bybee yesterday. You know, I understand guys get knocked around. This is kind of 2 in a row here. I want to know if you thought he was better, or do we have a problem with a true number one?
I thought he was much better. I mean, he left the start without any kind of injury, so that's a step in the right direction, right?
That's a positive, yeah.
Fine. I mean, yeah, I thought he was fine for what he did. I mean, that's a really good lineup. He walked Shohei Ohtani, which I think Max Muncy, and honestly, I'd rather walk Shohei Ohtani than pitch to him because we've seen what he can do. So, no, I think Tanner came out just fine. He got to his pitch limit. They were going to be careful with him after the shoulder issue the last start. So I think he did just fine. I mean, depends on how you want to define number one. I think they've got a lot of guys who are, 2s, 3s, whatever it is. But, yeah, I thought he came through just fine last night.
How much does I've brought this up, and Lima kind of rolls his eyes at me. How much do you think weather plays? Because it was kind of cold in Seattle, and it's obviously much closer to an Arizona type of weather pattern in Los Angeles. And I'm going, God, these guys, they go from warm weather to freezing cold. It has to play with their bodies, especially a pitcher.
Yeah, for pitching, for sure. I mean, to be fair, every pitcher out there is going through the same thing. So I guess it depends on how it affects you individually, but everyone's pitching through the same sort of conditions. So hopefully, that was all it was contributing to it, because he said it was something new that he didn't deal with in Arizona. So I think there's a level of degree there that was definitely the case, and he didn't show any ill effects from it last night. So I'm sure a lot of guys go through that up and down, and that's why they, for all the reasons we hate it, that's the reason why they don't come back to Cleveland and start the season.
Justin, good morning to you. I have a question for you. When does Travis Bassana realistically come up to the guards? And obviously, is that going to be quicker with the struggles that was happening at second and short? Or if that continues, is it going to happen quicker than later?
I don't think they're going to base it off of what's going on at the major league level, because then that puts more pressure on Bassana, and you don't want to bring him up and try to save any certain position or save the offense. I think it's going to be more on Travis Bassana's timeline, and whenever Cleveland feels like he's ready to make that ascent. I mean, there was an argument out of spring training that he was ready because, let's face it, he is the best offensive second baseman they have right now, and they could extend the order a little bit by having him in it. But if you want to put a date on it, I don't know, I thought early May would have been a good shot for it. I kind of wonder if they'll wait till June. Maybe it depends a little more on what the – how long they want to kick the can down the road on the decision of, do they keep Arias, do they keep Rocchio, who plays shortstop? And they'll just wait for Bassana to kind of have some runway under him and look like he's in a really good spot down in Columbus.
Justin Latta joining us on the show, Locked On Guardians podcast. He's on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. With George Valera getting to Columbus, what's his timeline now? Especially because, you mentioned some of the guys that might start the season on the 25-man roster, on the opening day roster, that changes basically every single year. Where do you think George is? When does George make his way up?
Yeah, he hasn't started playing in rehab games yet. He is going to join Columbus here. I think he's already with them. Mm-hmm. They just got back home last night. So it's really going to depend. He hasn't played in a while, so they're probably going to want to build him up too. It's the same thing as Chase Slaughter. He has a checkered injury history too, and they're going to want to build him up. So I would still think that there's a good chance it's going to be April, but it may be the latter part of April, just depending on how he responds. But he didn't have a more significant injury, but he hasn't played since, I want to say it's been 2 or 3 weeks at this point, so probably mid or late April.
A calf's a calf, so you know that's difficult. How does when he does make his way up, how does your outfield look?
I think you have to send C.J. Kapis back down. I think that, doing his best out there. I know he's played outfield a little bit in college and back in high school, and he hasn't played a ton of left field, so you have to give him a little bit of grace, I think, for the play in Seattle the other night. But he's really not a natural outfielder, and so far offensively it's early, so I hate to sit here and overreact to anybody's at-bats this early besides Chase DeLauder when he's standing upright. But I think George is a more natural outfielder, and he had some good moments last year. I mean, so did CJ too, but just looking at the natural state of the roster and how they want to use Angel Martinez and how Daniel Schneeman's played, 4 games or 5 games at like 4 different positions, I think it just makes sense to have Valera take Kepis' spot when he's ready.
Justin, what's the, in your opinion, what's the leash on Cade Smith? And if he doesn't pan out, what kind of are the Guardians' options at the end of the bullpen?
I mean, I don't think there's anything to worry about with Cade Smith anyway, but it's a couple of games, it's early, and he didn't have, the grip on his splitter in Seattle, and then it happened again in LA, which was a little bit concerning when he doesn't have all 3 pitches because guys can sit on the fastball. But I mean, there's no other route to go there. I don't think there's going to be any sort of thought as far as taking him out of the closer's role. Sean Armstrong, was the guy they signed to help with Hunter Gaddis to get the ball to Cade Smith in the 9th inning, and he has a little bit of closing experience, but I don't think there's going to be any sort of timeline here where, Cade Smith, it would have to be an extended period of struggles for Cade Smith for them to consider moving him out of the closer's role, I think, even though, it's nicer when he is able to set the games up, but, they don't have that luxury anymore.
Do you see Peyton Pallette in a high leverage situation or maybe even able to fill in that spot?
I think he can earn it over time. I think they're going to be careful about how they do that. And, he pitched really well in Seattle. He did have the one night where he gave up a run, but I thought the stuff looked really good. I could see a scenario where we get to June, and if he continues this path, I think the stuff is really good. I think there's a chance he could work his way up into the 7th or 8th inning and really be a guy they trust when the game is on the line or trying to get the ball to Cade with the lead. But, yeah, I could see a scenario where he gets high leverage. I don't know about closing, but I do see a scenario where he has the stuff as the year goes on. I mean, we saw Trevor Stephan a couple of years ago earn the trust of Terry Francona, and he got all the way to setup man, too. And I think Pallette's got the very, very same kind of chance.
Yeah. Justin, who is give me a name or two of somebody who might come up that, Guardians fans might not know that could be either a pitcher or a position player that can maybe, give him a bat or give him an arm later in the season?
If you want to go bat later in the season, I mean, it really depends on how things are going with Kyle Manzardo or Rhys Hoskins and how they figure out the playing time for David Fry. But, everyone's going to want to see Ralphie Velasquez at some point. He had a great spring training, had a really good run at the end of the year last year. It's going to be kind of hard to figure out where he fits into the lineup just because of the guys I mentioned before. But if he has a really good season, it's going to be a lot of calls for him quick to come up. As far as pitching is concerned, I mean, it's a little bit thin at the top right now, and I don't know how the 40-man roster evolves throughout the year because they just don't have a lot of guys they can move around. But a guy I really like that I think could make a couple starts this year if they need him is Cal Steven, the guy they got from Toronto for Shane Bieber. I think he is their best pitching prospect up in the upper minors right now that has a chance to impact the team this year.
Give me a name of a younger pitcher, maybe down to single A, double A, that's a guy that could be really good in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm always worried about high school pitching. High school pitching is so delicate, but Braylon Dowdy last year, he got the ball on opening day for single A. He'll start the year in high A Lake County. I assume he's going to get the ball to open the season on Thursday, but Braylon Dowdy's got all the goods. I mean, he's got 2 really good breaking balls. He's kind of new to pitching in terms of late in high school. Really good feel for spin. Control's really good. He's mature for his age. He's a little undersized. He's about 6'1", so you kind of worry about that. But everything just points to a guy who's just a really solid upside starting pitcher, and I think there's a lot of room for growth there, and he's already so talented. So I'm really excited to watch Braylon Dowdy pitch this year, and I think everyone should head over to Lake County, get a chance to watch him work.
Yeah, Justin Latta joining us on the show, co-host of Locked On Guardians podcast, which I listened to, and I was glad you didn't rip me for my comparison with Chase DeLauder. Who would you comp Chase DeLauder to?
Yeah, no, Ken, I would never rip you for anything. We go back too far, Ken. You're always on the right side.
Did you at least understand what I was trying to say when I made the comparison, or no? Because I've been getting harassed for it ever since. He doesn't. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't know if I saw your argument, Ken, but you know what? We all have perspectives. It's okay. I hate to say Grady Sizemore, like, he wears 24, and I know people are going to say, well, Grady Sizemore is injury prone. And, you know, as someone who grew up in Cleveland watching Grady Sizemore as a teenager, I will not listen to Grady Sizemore slander, because the man played, 4 or 5 years in a row of over 150 games and was on track to be a Hall of Famer before his body broke down. Chase Lauder, it would be great if we can get a year of over 100 games played for him at this point. But there is an element of Sizemore's game there. Like, he doesn't have the defense in center field, or I don't know how much you want him to run anyway with his current situation. But as far as the bat's concerned, I think that's as close as it gets. And you just hope that he can reverse course on all these injuries and play as many games as Sizemore did before his body betrayed him.
I don't know. I don't want to put carts before horses here, but I know you've discussed it, so I'm going to go ahead and ask you. Could Chase DeLauder be the type of guy where when David Blitzer takes over, maybe that's his first big splash to get the fans on his side? Like, hey, we're signing another guy to a big deal. I can't say it's like Bobby Witt or anything like that. We talked about it yesterday, but do you see him possibly as a guy like this is the first big investment David Blitzer makes as the managing partner of the Guardians?
I think it would be a great first move. Now, obviously, you want to make sure that he gets through the season healthy before you commit to that, because that obviously changes the calculus of things. But, yeah, I mean, he's a very special hitter. You can see it. And I think it'd be great for them to lock up an outfielder long term. They haven't done that since, Michael Brantley, I suppose. And he probably will be the best outfielder they've had since Michael Brantley. I mean, they haven't had a 20 home run hitting outfielder since 2014, and that was Brantley. So, yeah, it'd be a great first move to lock up the guy who is hitting in front of Jose Ramirez. And I think once Jose gets going, it's going to be a dynamic 2-3 combination there. So, yeah, I think that would be a great first move for them. But let's, hope he gets through. Like you said, don't put the cart before the horse. But if he gets through this year healthy and Blitzer exercises his option to take over, I would see that being a great move for when baseball comes back next year in May, June? Do you want to predict that now?
I don't know. I just got a text while you were answering the question because I'm getting made fun of because you didn't want to call me a moron for my comparison, but that's okay. You're a wonderful man, Justin. You're much nicer than some of my buddies out there. Justin Latta from the Locked On Guardians podcast. It's every day. They cover it every single day, even when they're on the West Coast, which is awful. Enjoy your day, Justin. I know we will be talking again soon. All the best, buddy.
Ken, I can't wait to do it. And you're never a moron to me. Don't worry.
Sometimes. You're too nice. Justin Latta on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline. One of the very best. Find him on social media. Again, Locked On Guardians. He does a wonderful job with it. Nick Baumgartner going to join us at 8:01 this morning from The Athletic. Sometimes the safest pick is the stupidest pick. And I want to ask Nick Baumgartner about that coming up at 8:01. Coming up next and about last night, a scare from the Bruised Bomber for your Cleveland Guardians. And, of course, a big question about Shohei Ohtani. Ken Carman, Coach Lance, in for Tone about last night in 5 on the Fan.
happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, the story of the Cleveland Guardians season continues to be Chase DeLauter, but this time it's not in the best light. Chase DeLauter fouled a pitch off his foot in the first inning of last night's game and had to actually leave the game after that. He didn't even run to first base when he hit the ball on the ground. X-rays did come back negative, but is this forever? Is this what we're going to be with Chase DeLauter this whole time? He's like Joel Embiid, where whenever anything happens, whenever anything happens, you're going to be scared that he's hurt.
Well,
am I wrong?
Yeah, a little bit, but come on now. Hold on. This isn't part of the process here. This was bad luck. How often, you mentioned it before the show, Lance, how often do you see a guy foul one off the back foot?
I've never seen it. I watch a lot of baseball.
Exactly.
I've never seen it.
So what? He'll have today off. Probably was scheduled already, right?
Scheduled
okay,
off.
so if today off, and then tomorrow they have an off day, he'll play against the Cubs on Friday. All is forgotten.
But you don't think for the rest of his career, you're not going to be like, oh, he's hurt now, what's going to happen?
You do that with everybody anymore, don't you?
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't worry about it. I try to maximize when he's playing. I mean, get him healthy and play. I mean, if it is, it is. But yeah, I never. It's like the resting people. I just go play.
I hate to be that way because I know that you say Grady Sizemore and people think that way. Even though Justin is as right as rain. I mean, he had 5 really, really, really long years, great years where he was elite. It's the same thing I feel like when Myles Garrett, when they show him and he's like doing the thing with his shoulder or like kind of trying to stretch out his back or something like that. It's like, oh, God, because you can't lose him. Of course, I'm sitting there going, what are the Browns going to do? Lose more games? They haven't been there through. So I think with him, yeah, maybe, but when you hear how sensitive I am to it. When you mention him with often injured people, immediately you go, oh, hey, easy. Easy. So
he's been injured every year.
Yeah, I guess I am a little bit touchy towards him because if he works out, I think he could be. I think he'd be a complete game changer in this lineup next to Jose Ramirez and completely change the fortune of this baseball team moving forward. And that they have a very high ceiling as it is. So I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Cavs lost last night, 127-113, but that was kind of, you wanted that to happen almost. Lima has been saying the Cavs need to lose this game, but Danny Cunningham said that if the Cavs lost and that's what your prerogative is, you can't really be mad at this game. And I don't think you can be mad at this performance.
Danny kind of hammered him for the defense though last night.
That's every week.
I can't get on board with the it's okay to lose. I will never in any sport. You are what you repeatedly do. Sports are not a faucet. So when people say I'm comfortable, I hope I can't get on board with that. I see what people say. You are creating habits, and those habits are what you do every single day. And if it's okay to lose, then it becomes okay to lose when it matters. So I can't get on board with anybody who's okay with losing at any point in time in anything they do.
So I had a nightmare last night that Ted Bundy came into our bedroom at 2 a.m., and I have not slept since. And so I decided to flip last night's game back on. And then I heard what Danny had said, and I go, I just can't see them playing. This is half-ass defense, guys. I can't see them playing half-ass defense in the postseason. Maybe I'm making too many excuses for them. Ted Bundy got me to wake up to watch the game all over again.
Oh, that's old school. That's when serial killers were in their prime.
That's when serial killers were serial killers.
That's when they were really
back in our day.
Rank those serial killers in their prime.
Most prolific. You can't say favorite, or you have to be in a meeting. So don't you dare say
prolific.
Favorite.
Are we going? I'm going number 1. I'm going Jeffrey Dahmer.
The local guy.
I'm going to go number 2. I'm going to go the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
Okay. Scariest documentary I've ever seen.
Ever.
Yeah. Scariest. Oh, he agrees.
Ever.
He agrees. I have a story for you off the air about that after we watched it.
And then I'm going to go, just because he was a clown, I'm going to go John Gacy as my 3.
All right. That guy could play some defense.
This is not how I thought this day was going to go.
Ted Bundy.
Pretty good entrepreneur, though.
Back
John
to
Gacy.
You, John.
Gotta give him credit there. He owns several businesses.
The Knicks lost last night, too. The Knicks have now lost 3 straight, and the Cavs and Knicks, only 1 game separates the Cavs from the 3 seed, and Lima has been pretty adamant about wanting to stay at the 4 seed, so you play the Celtics in the second round. But how do you balance semi-tanking and then ramping guys up that have been injured for the playoffs?
You're going to have to hope that there's professionalism here with a guy who's 36 years old. You have to hope that there's professionalism here with a guy who I think has been in the league 10 years now in Donovan Mitchell. You're hoping this is a big postseason for Evan Mobley. I think this is going to be a put up or shut up postseason for the fans with Evan Mobley. And then I got an almost impossible question for folks later when it comes to Jared Allen. He's proved his weight in gold. But you're really hoping that these guys do the veteran thing and understand that this is the postseason. This is not going to be acceptable of what you've done. And so that's why I kind of thought it was on purpose, because I'm like, Lance, I can't see them play. I know you hate losing on purpose. I cannot see them playing that type of defense in the postseason. I just think it's impossible. And if they did, then I guess I'm proven wrong, and we have to have ourselves a serious conversation about this group.
So when you say the lack of defense, can you just turn that on? Can you say I'm playing defense? Because that's a habitual thing. And that's, as a coach, I'm looking at that going, there's no way you turn that on. You can't just say, today is the day we play defense. Today is the day we're going to get in flow. We're going to move the ball. We're not going to let Donovan stay up. All those things that happen, the carryover from all sports. Tanking is the worst word ever. And if you use it, you tank, you lose. That's who you are. I'm sorry.
I think you can get caught on switches. If you don't know what you're doing defensively, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think they have veterans who know what they're supposed to do defensively. But I can't really get a proper reading out of Atkinson, where he was so mad in a win because their defense was terrible last week, and then they lose. They were down by 20, and he loved what they were doing when they were down by 20. So I really don't know how to read the guy right now. I'm going to try to have faith in the veterans and say that they will come out and they will play defense in the postseason, and we won't have to worry about this sort of thing like we are.
So aren't they playing defense right now? Is there?
Because I think they're trying to lose. I think they're trying to have the 4th seed. Lima called it. A lot of people agreed with them. They want that 4th seed. It's an easier road. And I used to be bring on anybody guy, and then the 2017 ALDS happened, and that's all there is to it. And I'm never going to be that guy again. I've learned my lesson.
I'm that guy. Bring it on.
Ooh, I'm telling you, man. You want to talk about a sleepless night? That was a bad, bad night when they lost to the Yankees, and it was an even worse morning.
Yeah, it was tough. I agree.
You say those sort of things, man. You got to answer for that. I'm just remembering it now. Oh boy!
So it's okay to lose the next round.
What serial killer does that remind you of, kid?
In the middle of the night?
Yep.
Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
All right,
he already used that. He already used that one. Let me go Ed Gein.
Oh, the monster.
Yeah, well, he did kill that many people, but, two's still enough.
The lampshade gets me, though. I mean, you're making me something. All right.
It was his attention to detail that gets people. Great upholsterer.
All right, John, next one, buddy.
All right. Todd Monken.
If you could harness that, you'd have a great Amish furniture maker.
Oh, God. Todd Monken's had the opportunity to speak to the media a couple times as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. How do you guys think he's doing speaking with the Cleveland media? Is he handling the media well?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I think that he got a taste of how crazy it was last year with the roundtable discussion where he's going. He had a look on his face. If you guys see the video, he's like, I'm really answering these questions about reps and dividing reps in training camp. And we're like, yeah, man. You might have forgotten that part of being here in Cleveland. Like, yeah, it's gonna get wild.
Well, people like when coaches wear it on their sleeves a little bit, and Todd Monken's going to do that. So when they play bad and people play bad, I think he's going to call people out. I'm not really big on that. I actually thought Kevin Stefanski, even though it was boring, took all the onus on himself. So I think he's going to wear it on his sleeve, which I think Cleveland fans are going to like a little bit. I like him. I think he's a football guy. And there's a lot of guys who coach, and there's guys who coach and are football guys. And I think for right now, I just think he's a guy that no one respects, kind of. He got this job at 60, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think he's handled it great, and I think he's irritated and he's mad, and I like it. He seems just, angry at stuff for no reason. I'm okay with that.
That's it for About Last Night.
Social media reactions brought to you by
Shibe & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
The CLE for Life asked me why I'd be afraid of Bundy because of who he chose. I'm like, well, Ted Bundy would kill me to get to my wife, would he not?
No, I think you can handle Ted Bundy. He's a little guy. I think Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez looks like an athlete.
Richard Ramirez was.
But Ted Bundy, Ted Bundy, unless he's armed with something, I'm feeling confident about I'm feeling confident.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously he's not coming empty-handed, But if he's empty-handed,
I think all those guys you probably could take except for Rich Ramirez.
Richard Ramirez is.
He was an athlete, but the other ones like John Gacy. I'm sorry.
I just hate the way that we like to talk in code. He's an athlete. He's athletic.
Is he sneaky?
He's
athletic?
a gym rat.
He's a gym.
First guy in, last guy out type of serial killer.
Yeah, that's what he does. Detailed. Attention to detail.
Coach's kid.
Coming up next, Nick Baumgartner going to join us on the show. He's from The Athletic. Who does he want to take at number 6? Because there's a lot of people going, hey, that's really safe for the Browns. And I'm going, that sounds really stupid for the Browns. Ken Carman, Coach Lance, in for Tone on the Fan.
This is
I just think those people, I think they want to have a situation where the Browns aren't sitting there and telling everyone we're doing one thing when it's obvious they're doing something different.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Who do you want to take at 6?
Caleb Downs.
You want to take Caleb Downs?
I do. I have 6 guys I would take if they're there. I'm not moving. I'm taking Caleb Downs. He changes the narrative of the game, stacking good players, and I'm not filling holes. So I'm taking Caleb Downs, or I'm taking Jeremiah Love.
It is April 1st, and I still haven't made my decision yet. The draft is like 23 days away. I haven't been able to do it.
Where are you leaning?
Because any name that gets brought up, people just start farting in its general direction. So let's get to Nick Baumgartner, who joins us right now on the Make It Right Call Right Hotline, NFL draft analyst for The Athletic. Nick, thanks for joining us this morning.
No problem, guys. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. Can you cross off a name for me by any chance? Give me who the Browns absolutely cannot take at number 6 overall.
Ty Simpson. Can't do it. Cannot have it. No quarterback up there other than Mendoza for me. But I'll tell you what, guys, when I was listening as I was coming in, I loved the conviction on Downs and Jeremiah Love, because Jeremiah Love's my number 1 player on the board. Nobody talks about, what he can do for a team. And then it's the same conversation, I think. I think Downs is a top 5 player. And it's one of those things where it's like he changes. So I'm with you guys. I love that. I love the conviction on those 2. Great players.
Nick, how are you? Hey, question for you. Tackles-wise, are you going early round? You going late round? Like, I love Max Iheanacho. I think he's a guy, probably can't start early, but can play late. Do you think he can go left and right? I think he can. I love his feet. Obviously, people love Monroe Freeling. Besides those 2, give me another guy. Like I like a guy like Isaiah World from Oregon. Give me a guy you like that might be a late-round guy at tackle that could be a good fit for the Browns.
Yeah, tackle's a weird one this year because you've got a situation where I think you got like 7 guys that are probably going to go in the first round. And then there's a kind of a gap, so I don't know if there's too many guys that I would take in round 2, maybe not even that many in round 3. And then you see a bunch, outside the top 100 that you'll start taking a shot at. But really the first 7 in this class are the guys that I think you want to get a shot at. For the Browns, though, I think it's more of a question of, do you want to go at 6? Do you want to try to do it, with your later first round pick? And then, as you say, if you want to go and wait, somebody like Demetrius Crown over the kid from Texas A&M, who's a really big guy, or Bell, the kid from Miami, the other giant tackle. Those are the guys that you'll probably look at, later in the draft that are, they're not dart throws. I think some of those guys are quality players, like a Jude Bowery if he was there. Like you mentioned, Isaiah World. There's a lot of hiccups with him and inconsistencies, and it might be something where he works out. It might be something where it doesn't ever pan out. So, those are the guys this year in that 4th to 5th round range that I think, would be of note. But really, for me, if I'm the Browns, it's either Mauigoa or Fano at the top, because I think you're going to have a shot at one or the other. And then after that, you look at, Caleb Lomu, Caden Proctor, Max Iheanacho. I think he can play both sides, like you mentioned. I think Blake Miller could play both sides as well. Proctor scares me a little bit, but he's super athletic. So I think the Browns are in a good spot to get a tackle if they really are committed to doing it this year, one way or the other.
Yeah, speaking of Proctor, that was my next question for you. Caden Proctor is a guy I have lower on my list. I just don't,
same.
I just think he's more of a hip bender than a knee bender. Do you see that kind of carrying over to the NFL? His inability at that size to kind of bend at the knees and make sure he's able to get to the edge on those guys?
Yeah, it's not just that. It's also the hands are all over the place. He guesses a lot. He lunges a lot. He's just a very sloppy player, I think, in general. And it's hard to say that because he's such a good athlete. I mean, he is very special. All the stuff that they've done with him in the backfield and splitting him out and all that, I mean, he's legitimate. He can move and he can deliver a blow on the move. And if he can get with a good offensive line coach or whatever, I mean, then it would be great. It could be great. But it's also one of these things where it's like he's a third-year college player. He started for 3 years. The NFL is not a developmental league. I have a lot of questions about him. And, for me, I'd be nervous about him in the 20s if I was a team that wanted to take him and have him start immediately. I almost feel like I'd rather have him sit behind a guy. Like I've seen Detroit, as a situation where they have a swing tackle along with Sewell. They could bring a guy in, maybe sit him for a little bit. Like that, maybe that would work there. But I'm not sure if it would work with Cleveland, especially if you're a young team trying to come up on it, because I think Proctor's a guy that's going to need a lot of work.
Nick, to continue on Proctor, like I'm always sensitive to this because I radio show hosts talking about people's bodies is a little bit weird to me. Not like because it's like, hey, I'm fat. Like honestly, if I'm calling a guy heavy, like I know what I look like, and so I am sensitive to it. Like, hey, if I were an athlete and I'm hearing some guy in Cleveland calling me heavy, it's like, who are you? Right. But I also have personal experience knowing, like, hey, like if a lineman I have to bulk him up, it seems to be easier for me to bulk him up than to keep that weight down. Does that make sense? And so that's what might scare a lot of people. True. Yeah, because, I mean, if he's at 352, he looks like a Zeus. But during the season when you're not doing as much, when you're getting yourself ready for the next week, some guys tend to lose weight. But a guy like him, I mean, all of a sudden you're going to be pushing 4 spins, and if you can't get out of a stance, that's a major problem for us.
It's a huge problem. It's the same conversation. Remember when DeJuan Jones at Ohio State there came out? He's such a giant guy that you're like, and Proctor's 6'8", right? Same thing. When you got a guy that big, also, it's not just about, yes, his weight could balloon. It could be just crazy that you can't get it under control, and he's the guy that blows through his signing bonus in 3 weeks on the fines. But he also, 6'8" with those long limbs, I mean, the chances for a knee or any other thing, foot, all these things just go way up, when the guys get that big. So there's a lot that scares me about him. There's a lot that's intriguing, obviously, but there's probably more, honestly, that scares me about him. I would be nervous. He's a first-round talent. Obviously, I can't ignore that, but a lot about him makes me nervous. Plus, he transferred to Iowa. He was there for 6 months, came back to Alabama. I think there might be some growing up also that he has to do as well. He's a young player.
I think some fans actually might like him if he would have just stayed at Iowa because he would be a Big Ten offensive lineman instead of an Alabama offensive lineman.
He'd be less nervous.
Yeah, exactly. Nick Baumgartner joining us on the show from The Athletic. Okay, Jeremiah Love, tell me why the Browns, if they can't move out, why they should take him at number 6 overall when you already have Quinshon Judkins and Dylan Sampson in that backfield.
I think Jeremiah Love is the best player in this draft. I think he is in the category or the tier of a Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think possibly even in a Saquon category at some point someday. I think he's one of those guys that can change the tenor of a franchise on offense, can be an immediate impact player. I think he's better than Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if Jeremiah Love necessarily needs a amazing offense to come in and really sing. I think he could come in and help raise a team. I think he could come in and work with a young quarterback. There's just not many holes to his game. When we look at running backs over the last 10, 15 years that have come out, he's in that group of upper echelon. He's going to be good. One of those things. You don't ever have to take him off the field. You can move him around. You don't have to get rid of Judkins. Maybe Dylan Sampson doesn't have quite as much of a role, but you can play him with another guy. It works. There's a lot you can do with him. And it's a lot like the conversation with Downs on the other side of the ball. He's more than a running back. And I know that's hard for people to hear sometimes because it's like, well, you say that all the time. You say that about a lot of guys, but it's like with this one, he is an outlier. And that's hard for some people to wrap their heads around sometimes, but I truly believe he is.
When you think about Jeremiah Love, do you think, when I think of him and what he does for an offense, I think of him as a touch guy. And obviously people love to talk position value and things like that. You think if people thought of him as a touch guy, a guy who can play in the slot, run the full route tree, work the quick game outside, do some things besides just being, I think when people think running back, they think dot the I. Is that fair to say if you thought of him as a touch guy, people would think of him higher?
1,000%. I think if you look at, what Bijan Robinson does in Atlanta, what the 49ers have been able to do over the years with McCaffrey. The Lions do it with Gibbs. Like Gibbs a couple of years ago had like 1,600 yards and like 60 or 70 catches, you know what I mean, or whatever it was. Alvin Kamara several years ago, I remember one year he had 1,500 yards, 100 catches. Remember LaDainian Tomlinson all those years ago when he was cooking. That's the type of back that we're talking about. A guy who is a touchback, who you can give 35 touches to in a money game, 25 carries, 10 targets, whatever it is, and he's going to provide. He's going to be there for you, like that kind of guy. They're very rare, but like that's exactly what it is. It's a guy you can get involved and you can get the ball to so many more times in so many more situations than you could a normal running back. Where a normal running, like Judkins is a really good running back in the NFL, but you're not giving him the ball more than 17 times in a game, on a good day. Most likely you could give the ball to, you could almost double that on certain situations, maybe not every week, but in certain situations with Love.
Does it make it an easier sell because you're replacing right now 4/5 of the offensive line with free agents? You might have a fifth one there, depending on what you do at 24. Now, a rookie over there, left tackle. We'll see where it goes. you usually move better forwards than backwards. So it's like, well, if we're running the ball like crazy, I mean, they can put 11 in the box, but if we can get a hat on a hat, maybe we can go ahead and do much better with Jeremiah Love than what we've been doing running the football.
Yeah, that, I think for a few reasons. That, number one, that's a great point there. Number two would be, you don't quite have your future quarterback yet. The Browns are still sort of searching for that, and I think Love is one of those offensive weapons that will work with any guy you bring in. So whatever style it may be, or even if Todd Monken's not the coach in 2 years or you're going somewhere else, like Love's going to be fine. You can plant him in the ground, and he's going to be a dude for you. The other thing I think that could justify it more also in theory would be you have the other pick in the first round. You could – you're a team right now that is trying to acquire as many young, talented players as possible. To me, it doesn't matter what position they play. So at number 6, I'm trying to get the absolute best player I can get, period. End of story. And if that's Jeremiah Love, that's Jeremiah Love. And if I have to get my tackle at 26, then that's what I'll do. And I think that that's another conversation that you could have as well. You could be a little more aggressive in some of that situations there with the extra pick. But I understand also, the Browns haven't had a lot of these picks in years. So if they want to fill out the roster, that's another conversation.
Nick, I'm looking at my receiver list here. Obviously everybody talks Lemon, Tyson, Tate. For me, I don't have a big difference between the next tier as compared to the first tier. Yeah. I think it's close. And obviously you got guys who, are touch guys and slot kind of guys. I'm not big on saying slot anymore. I think it's an overrated term. But guys who touch the ball and then that outside X receiver, guys like Casey Concepcion, I love Omar Cooper, even Zachariah Branch. And then you got the big guys. You got Boston, you got Brazil. Do you think the Browns would be advantageous to kind of leave, though? I love Mekhi Lemon. He's first on my board, but pass on those first guys and then get a guy with value either at 24 or 39.
Yes, I think that would be a great idea, actually, because you mentioned Omar Cooper. I think he's awesome. I think he's one of the smoothest, safest players in the class. I've had him a few times. I was hoping just for convenience, for the Raiders, if he could slip to Mendoza, because he's just such a. I think he works with any young quarterback. He'd help make them better, that kind of thing. It's a similar conversation, I think, in a different body with Denzel Boston, a really safe target. I think you could even go down further, though, right? Like you mentioned, another guy, Jeremy Bernard, if you get him in the second round, a guy who's just really safe and easy. Chris Bell, the kid from Louisville, I don't know what the medicals looked like on him, but when he was healthy, people were talking about him as maybe a first-round pick also. So I would probably wait if I were them on the receiver, because there's not only guys there at, like you mentioned, 24 and 39. I think there's probably even some guys maybe in the third round that you could get that you might be okay with. Be it I think Zach Branch might hang around for a minute. I like him. Antonio Williams from Clemson's another one, and then Surratt, the other Indiana kid too, maybe a little bit later on day 2. So there's plenty of guys. There's not a lot of stars. That's been the big thing. There's no big receiver 1 in this class, but there's a lot of good players. Tate, Tyson, and Lemon are all kind of representative of the whole class to me. They're solid, really good football players who I think are going to be good. And I think if you go down the board, there's at least a dozen who we could say the same thing about.
So I'm the Browns. I got a good defense. I got a not so good offense. I got pick number 6, pick number 24, pick number 39, pick number 70 in the third round. Am I still looking for some impact there by pick number 70? I guess I should say at 107. Can I think about another quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't take one before that.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what that was a long way to ask that question. I know, but that's kind of what I was.
So the guys you're going to look at after that, I don't think Nussmeier will be there after the third. But if Nussmeier were there, absolutely. I think and Klubnik and Cole Payton would be the other one from North Dakota State. Those would be the two. Klubnik and Cole Payton after round 3. I would say, they're worth it. They're worth a shot. Drew Aller is a guy also physically that I wouldn't totally throw the towel in on if we're talking late day. I don't know if I would bet money on it, but it's not a completely useless class.
Do you think he goes on Saturday because of his size and because of the arm? Yeah. I think he might be a Friday night guy.
We have seen a lot with Drew Aller that we can't unsee, but we've also as you just mentioned, he's 6'5", 240, huge arm, and he's very athletic. And he's pretty young. He's not that old. So, I think he could be a guy that goes higher than people realize.
All right, I got a tight end question for you. Let's take out Kenyon Sadiq because I think he'll be obviously a first-round guy. Yes. The Browns are in need. It's kind of a hidden need for the Browns, especially an athletic guy after Harold Fannin. A guy like Oscar Delp. What do you think of Delp? And are there any other guys? Like, I think Sam Roush is a guy who's really good with his hand on the ground. I think he's a guy that can play the fullback that Monken has mentioned. So besides Oscar Delp and Sam Roush, I like Michael Trigg. I like Daquan Wright. What are some guys that would kind of fit that athletic, moving tight end that Todd Monken likes in his 12 personnel?
I really like that kid, the kid from A&M, Nate Borricker. He's like 6'4", 250. He was at, I think, the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl, one of the two, and he was easily the best blocking tight end there, who moves pretty well and could move all over the place. Exactly what you're talking about. A guy who could play the H, the fullback, whatever it is. You could probably get him a little bit late. He played an offense that made him block. It's the same thing with Sam Roush. Played an offense that made him block, made him do things. Matthew Hibner is a big athletic kid that I think finished up at SMU and started at Michigan, who will be a little bit later on that would be available. And the other one, too, who was at Michigan, actually, who I think exactly what you're talking about here, Marlon Klein, 6'6", 250, 247, whatever it is. Really, really good athlete. I think he's from Germany. And he's big, long, and a really good blocker who's got, I think, better potential as a pass catcher, too, but a really good TE, too. So would be a really good compliment to Fannin. I think a guy who could play in line, a guy who could move a little bit, who's still got some more, room to grow. Another one I'll give you, too, would be Josh Cuevas from Alabama. I think he's got really good hands. He moves really well. He's not super tall, but another one of those guys that can play the H, can play the fullback role, whatever it is, the U, and do all the dirty work for you. So this is an awesome tight end class. There are so many guys. I think there will be guys in the UDFA group that will be of note to take a deep look at, because you mentioned Delp. I think Delp's a nice player, but he's going to be late. I think he might be late, and maybe even he slips out because there's so many guys this year that are just really, really good players.
Nick, we thank you very much for the time. Awesome as always. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, fellas, take care.
Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. All right, you said the trigger name. Actually, technically, I did. Coach Lance loves him. I got to keep an open mind. I said right at the beginning of this interview, I had no clue yet who I was taking at number 6 overall. You want Jeremiah Love? You got to sell me on Jeremiah Love. Coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan.
of a Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's one of those guys that can change the tenor of a franchise on offense, can be an immediate impact player. I think he's better than Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if Jeremiah Love necessarily needs amazing offense to come in and really sing. I think he could come in and help raise a team. There's just not many holes to his game. You know, when we look at running backs over the last 10, 15 years that have come out, he's in that group of upper echelon. You know, he's going to be good.
That's Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic. So safe can be stupid. Offensive linemen are safe. They feel safe, but, you know, we've seen it before. We drafted a guy top 10, and he, by and large, did not work out. Wasn't the worst offensive lineman you could have taken in that draft if you go back and look, but didn't really work out for us, obviously. If we're talking Monroe Freeling at number 6 overall, I think we're just we're forcing a situation that I don't like. If we're talking Caden Proctor at number 6 overall, like guys, you guys were beating me in the road, or maybe kicking the tires on him at number 24 overall, and there is concerns there, and I've mentioned those concerns. So safe doesn't always mean smart. It can mean absolutely stupid because you're too afraid to quote unquote take a risk. I want to be talked into Jeremiah Love because he's a running back. He is a guy you would be taking right after you've taken Quinshon Judkins, and he's just been a non-starter for the fan base by and large this entire process. So I don't know how many more shows I'm going to get to do with you before the draft, so you talk me into it because you love him. You seem to be a big fan. I think there's a lot to like about Jeremiah Love. And if he's there at 6, I want you to talk me into him. Tell me why.
Well, first of all, you got to not think of him as a running back, right? We think about dot in the eye running backs, guy getting the balls downhill. He's a guy, and all the comparisons Nick had, I go with Marshall Faulk, a guy who can change the narrative of a game. Now, the thing that he said that I really like is the idea that the offense doesn't have to be great for him to sing. That's where the Browns are at. Monken is a guy who thrives on getting the ball in space. He's kind of positionless in what he likes to do with his playmakers. Think about Zay Flowers. You think about guys in space that can do things with the ball with everybody not having to do it right. If you think about a system offense when Kevin was here, you have to have 11 spokes on the wheel doing it all right for it to be successful, and it really can. That's not how Monken runs things. Monken is going to find matchups for Fannin. He's going to find run matchups for Judkins, lightening that box. What a guy like Love does is you can simply have him on the field. He's a guy, and it sounds really simple, he's a guy who can score points with other guys screwing up, which is very rare in football that you can do that. There are very few guys that can change the game with everybody not doing it right, and that's what Jeremiah Love is. You can put him in the slot. You can put him outside. He can run a hitch. He can run a fade. You can find matchups for him, angle routes, Texas routes, arrow routes out of the backfield. But more importantly, just getting in personnel groups and dictating what defense of personnel gets in the game and how you're going to attack them. And he's a guy, once again, I think the thought process is position value, he's a running back. I don't see him as a running back. I think Marshall Faulk, split him out, put him in the slot, put him in the backfield. But he's a guy that can score points with minimal talent around him. And right now, that's where the Browns are on an offense. So he immediately makes that offense much better because of his ability to score without everybody having to help him.
216-474-0092. Are you open to Jeremiah Love at number 6? Because that's a whole can of worms for a lot of folks. I was getting texts during the interviews, during that interview with Nick Baumgartner, about you guys cannot seriously be talking about Jeremiah Love at 6. I have not seriously had any conversation about Jeremiah Love at 6 because I just thought it was a non-starter for a lot of folks. There's a lot of talent there. He's a fantastic player. But you have Quinshon Judkins, who avoided it was a serious injury, but he avoided any long-term structural damage with the injury. Dylan Sampson ran the ball well, but it was one of the things that I asked you. We're going to get a little bit nitty-gritty here. This is going to go in the weeds a little bit. I had asked you, why does Dylan Sampson seem to be doing better running the football than what Quinshon Judkins is? I asked you that during the season because a lot of people were asking, and I was like, you know what, I really don't have a great answer. I better ask a coach. I asked you, you gave a great answer for it because everybody was focused on number 10. This might open up something for number 10. I think it takes a little bit of a pressure off of him as the lead running back. And honestly, maybe Quinshon Judkins is a number 2 in that backfield and not what Jeremiah Love is. And you're doing a hell of a sell job with me now because I brought this up with Nick real quick. I brought this up with Nick, Coach, where, you know, I'm very worried about the offensive line. I got new guys coming in, and I hate how people just think you can just play musical chairs with offensive linemen and it should, well, just leave George Warhop to work it out. It should work out. Like, no, you still got to have players. But when you're questioning your offensive line, I'm a believer in they move better forward than they do backwards, so maybe you would be disposed to running the football. Jeremiah Love's going to find them holes, just like you're saying to me here, so you're not doing a bad sell job to me here.
Well, and think about this. Think about them both being on the field at tight. If you don't go with that, let's say you're in 11 personnel and Jeremiah Love is in the slot, and you want to run the ball with Junkins. Well, what you want to run is you want to run against a 5 or 6 man box, and you're not going to do that if you don't have a guy that when he touches it, he can score. All other guys can do it wrong, and the quarterback has to throw a simple route because they're reading that linebacker. So now instead of blocking 7, you're blocking 5 or 6. You're never wrong stacking players. I've always felt that if you're filling holes, that's for the now. If you're stacking talent, now you're talking of nickel personnel, things like that. There's matchups you can create with a talent like Love if you think of him as a touch guy and not a running back.
Why do I take, before I get to the phones here, 216-474-0092, why do I take Jeremiah Love over Caleb Downs? Because you like Caleb Downs.
I'm not taking him.
You would take Caleb Downs.
So I love those two. But compared to Nick, I have Jeremiah Love is my number 2. Caleb Downs is my number 1. And the reason why, because when I turn on the film, he's the best guy on the film. And people say, well, you don't need a safety in the position of value. I understand that. It's an outlier. Everybody that people say it's great. I base it on what I see on film. Caleb Downs is the best football player without question in this draft for me. Why? Because he changes, he creates short fields. He's a monster. He's really, really intelligent, but he's a playmaker. And if I'm the Browns defense and they're like, well, he doesn't score points, why? That's fair, but he's going to create short fields. He's going to make this defense even better. Now Delpit's down in the box all the time. Delpit wants to leave the year after because he's a free agent. Now he can move down inside. You still have Hickman. You're never wrong stacking great, great talent. And
Delpit's going to be a free agent that soon?
I think it's next year, yeah. It's pretty quick.
I got to go look that up. I got papers all over my keyboard there. I didn't realize that.
So
go
I think
ahead.
it's coming soon. But that's for me, the guy when I'm picking inside the top 6, I don't care what my team has. I don't care what the strength of my team is. I am taking a guy who's the best player. That will never change for me. Need is one thing. Talent is another, and I think the Browns have to improve their talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Chuck in Strongsville, you're first up on the Fan. Hello, Chuck.
Yo, hey, man, it's nasty out here. How you guys doing?
Terrible. We're doing all right. Go ahead, Chuck.
Opportunities. Browns top 10, we always miss the blue chip guy. Jeremiah Love is something that, it's a surefire pick. Thunder and lightning in the background. We don't know what's going to happen with Junkins with the ankle. This guy's a touchdown machine. We'll be monsters in the run game. Detroit, that's the blueprint they had. It sounds good to me. What you guys think about that?
It's hard for me to say no, absolutely not. I'm not going to. Because of what Coach Lance just said. I can use him in different places. By the way, Chuck, thank you for the call. Why don't you like using the term slot anymore?
Because I think it ties you into a box, right? So a slot.
So you can only be in the slot. You can't line them up past the numbers. You can't.
Yeah. You can't put him in that. For me, slot guy. The term I use is touch, right? I'm going to create touches for this guy, and usually that's what a slot receiver is, right? The undersized guy who's good in a phone booth. You lose a game of tag in a phone booth kind of guy. So that's really kind of for me that's outdated because those slot guys can now go outside. Those touch guys can now go outside if that's a matchup you like. What kind of defense do you get? Do you get nickel? Do they always put the linebacker on the back if it's man coverage? So not only does he dictate a matchup, he's also going to show the quarterback. Obviously, linebacker walks out with them, you're in man. Corners out there, you're in zone. So there's so many different things you can do with a touch guy. That's why I don't like the word slot because I think it puts him in a box. And these are guys who don't need, when I think about guys like that, guys who don't need everybody else to do it. They can do it on their own, and that's important in the NFL.
216-474-0092. Would you consider Jeremiah Love at number 6? Nick Baumgartner likes him. Coach Lance likes him. I want to hear from you. I'm on the fence. I can easily be talked into a lot of things. I'm an easy pigeon when it comes to stuff like this. 216-474-0092. That, and I might break one of my own rules. Coming up in 5 minutes. Coming up at 8:43 on the Fan. Friends.
part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 92.3 The Fan and see if our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
The final weeks of the NBA regular season are here, and the playoffs are just around the corner. Get ready for a Cavs run in the Eastern Conference with the best basketball talk in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
You have a chance to win a team for the Fan Mock Draft coming up later on this month. It's coming up at 9 o'clock. The bowl is right behind me. We're going to have Coach Lance pick the team. We'll have Coach Lance pick the team. That's how this one's worked. You're going to pull a name out of a bowl.
I can do that.
Going to be a hell of a time.
All right, I'm in.
Fan Mock Draft coming up, what, on the 18th or 18th? Which day is it?
Days.
Yeah, it's one of them damn days. I forget. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a good time. It's a Game On in North Homestead, I'll tell you that.
It is on somewhere on this paper, the 16th.
16th, April 16th. It's going to be a good time, folks. You're going to love it. Fan Mock Draft.
Absolutely.
Boom. Going to get a team, free buffet. Got to be 21 and older, though, because it's courtesy of our friends at Bud Light. And you can trade anything you want. You guys want Fernando Mendoza? We already gave away the Raiders, so you might be able to do. You want to trade away Myles Garrett? You can go right on ahead and do that during the Fan Mock Draft.
There's people that want Deshaun off the team.
You can move on from him. Get him out of here.
Send him.
That's how that works.
We will send the results over to the Browns. They will do nothing.
And the best thing is that when they take a picture of what the mock draft looks like up on the big board there at Game On, then you get the ridicule of the entire internet who thinks that it's real, like what happened last year. And I had to go, no, guys, I felt like Uncle Leo and Seinfeld. Stop the show. It's a gag. All right. Also, coming up at 9:20. Guys, if you would have asked me this at the beginning of the season, I'd say, hell yes, sign me up. It's becoming a complicated answer when it comes to your Cleveland Cavaliers. Because there has been one exceptional bright spot, not James Harden, but there's been one exceptional bright spot that since James Harden got here that has made this Cavaliers team much better, much more enjoyable. And a question that got thrown out by Dave McMenamin of ESPN, I think is going to raise some hell coming up here at 9:22. 216-474-0092. Jeremiah Love at number 6 overall is a big question. It's controversial because of the position he plays. However, what was it? 27 catches, 280 yards out of the backfield, 3 touchdowns, I think it was. And we say out of the backfield, lined up in the slot, lined up at different places. He is a weapon. He is a weapon. Offensive line feels safe. Offensive line isn't safe. You have a lot of inexperience on guys that might be there, or you have guys that, if you're thinking about tackle, are they going to be able to be tackles in this league right off the rip? Because a guy like, I could see a guy like, people bring up Caden Proctor at 6. I could see you starting the year, week 1, they take the field for their first offensive series, and Caden Proctor ain't out there. Jeremiah Love's going to be out there. Carnell Tate's going to be out there. I mean, you need, at number 6,
game changer.
I'd like to go offensive.
Dude.
You need immediate help.
You need dude. You need dudes. And that's, when you talk about the ability, there's no one in the draft who, when they touch the ball, can go score points. And I know that sounds really, really archaic and simple, but that's the reality of it. You don't have to have great pass protection. You don't have to have a great run game. Those things improve when you have a guy who can score. When you don't have to go 12 plays every single time to score points, that helps an offense. That helps the ability to get the quarterback in rhythm, get the run game going. All of a sudden, Jeremiah Love, we got to go nickel. Well, if you go nickel, you take a back route. Now we can run the ball. There's so many things besides just him that allows you to do things when you have talent. And Jeremiah Love is the most talented offensive player in this draft, and it's really not close for me.
Let's go to Adam in Dayton. Adam, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, Adam. Go ahead.
I understand the Jeremiah Love interest, and I'm not necessarily anti that. But I do think, for me, it's go get Cardell Tate. You have to win on the outside. You've been so bad on the outside. And I feel like the Browns always try to get into this, we're smarter than everybody else in the room. If you take Jeremiah Love at 6, after drafting 2 running backs last year, who may seem to work out, and then he isn't Marshall Faulk or something close to that. It's, again, you've just gone more into a position, and now you haven't stockpiled any talent at other positions where you're decimated with it. So that's kind of my take on it. I get the matchup, I get the go score, but we are in dire need of a wide receiver on the outside that can catch the ball. If Tate doesn't work out, it's easier to live with.
Answer the man, Coach.
Adam, let me ask you a question. Do you think Jeremiah Love is a better player, or do you think Carnell Tate's a better player? Not for what the Browns need, just as a football player. Who do you think is a better football player?
Probably Love, but I can also see Tate being the better NFL player.
All right, so if you think, my point being, if you think Tate is the better player, then absolutely go get him. And that's kind of the idea of only bad plan is no plan. For me, I don't think it's close. So when people, and I've had people, Adam, say to me, well, I don't think Tate is nearly, or Lemon is nearly as good as Love, but the Browns need, and that key word is need, a receiver. What they need for me is a guy who can score. They need a guy who can touch the ball in space and go get it. And for me, that's Jeremiah Love. Now, if you think Tate's going to be a better pro, then that's a pretty good answer, because that tells me obviously he's going to improve. They have a good pedigree at Ohio State. All those things involved. I'm saying the same thing as you're saying. I'm just saying it with Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, I think a lot of it in watching this team, especially over the past couple of years, and we saw a glimpse of it when Amari Cooper, before he became 90 years old overnight and had Flacco in that run, was, everything is condensed. We don't stretch the field at all. Now, lining up Love in the slot, and I'm not discounting or disagreeing with anything you said about he's a guy on a matchup, a linebacker can get it and go. But I also think throwing, 17 outside the numbers, and now you can draw the safety over there and they're not loaded up on, Judkins or Sampson, whoever's running the ball. It's honestly even going to help out this offensive line that we have no idea how they're going to do, because they were all just put together. Maybe take some pressure off them. I think I'll say this. I like the Love pick more than taking one of these tackles at 6.
I'm starting to agree with that. Adam, thank you very much for the call. The pure tackles, I'm starting to agree with that thought. Like, I'd like some impact. I just think that either A, you're not going to start week 1 with these guys on the field, or B, you're going to start week 1 with these guys on the field because that's what you're supposed to do, and then we're going to put these guys behind the 8 ball here to start off their careers. Because if neither one of these guys are ready, I'm sorry, I just can't take you at 6. I need immediate offensive impact. And impact can be on the offensive line, but I can't take you at 6 just because you fill a need at left tackle. I can't do it. And part of the reason I think I'm getting agitated about this, Coach, is because I think that people are slotting him to the Browns because they think the Browns are silly people, and that the Browns are going to go out there and they're going to make that decision. Like, when we talk about some of the crazy moves that could be made in the top 10. Like, I heard McShay talk about it. I heard Ryan Wilson talk about it. I heard other people bring it up. It's always us, or it's always who else? It's always the Jets. Why? Because you think both of those franchises are going to do crazy things. Washington used to be that team. Now that they have Jaden Daniels, it's like, well, maybe they're going to calm down a little bit here. Like, this seems to be a little bit nuts with that. Can I break my own rule here just a second? Nick Baumgartner was with us 40 minutes ago. I asked him, I go, hey, maybe not in the first 3 rounds. You got pick 107 there on Saturday. Maybe you kick around a quarterback. He mentioned a certain name.
We've seen a lot with Drew Heller that we can't unsee, but we've also, as you just mentioned, he's 6'5", 240, huge arm, and he's very athletic. And he's pretty young. He's not that old. So, I think he could be a guy that goes higher than people realize.
I don't think I'd take him because I think he was in a giant fishbowl at Penn State, and I think he'll be even a bigger fishbowl here in Cleveland because it's his hometown. I think he'll end up going night 2 because of the measurables, because of the arm. I think someone will really take him and go, guys, this quarterback crazy league, if we can fix this guy, we're going to have horse turd sized diamonds on our hands here. For the quarterback position, I got to tell you, it's rubbing me the wrong way that Todd Monken said that he hasn't seen Dylan Gabriel at all. That's an emotional, silly thing to say. But when you talk to Deshaun Watson, when you see Shedeur Sanders every day, and then you tell me you don't see Dylan Gabriel at all, you haven't talked to Dylan Gabriel at all, it just rubs me the wrong way. And I go, hey, you know what? Maybe a nice Cade Klubnik later on. You know what? Maybe a nice Luke Altmaier from Illinois. He looked good at the Senior Bowl. People really liked him. Maybe you bring him in on Saturday. I'm sorry, Coach. It's just kind of how I'm feeling off the top of my head. It's a nasty thing to say. It's a true thing to say, and maybe I break my own rule because I didn't want any quarterbacks this coming draft. I was like, no, I'm done. We'll move on. And I don't know, that one statement, it just kind of, it's probably not true. You're probably not being a bad teammate, bad guy, but there's a perception there. I'm sorry.
Well, in that position, that's the position where it matters, right? So there's other guys who haven't been in the building, but when you're a quarterback of any level of team, you are the face of that program, whether it's high school, college, or pro. And when you have, the perception is when he says that is not only is he not in the building, but unfortunately he's not working. And he might be working his you-know-what off, but that's the perception. And as we've all three of us have said, perception, unfortunately, is reality. So as a quarterback, you got to make sure you do those things, not only for yourself, but just for your daily well-being. People want to know that all you care about, and it doesn't have to be the case. Maybe Shedeur is there 20 minutes. Maybe he's there for 6 hours. But the bottom line is he's there, and people see him there. Now the perception is Shedeur is doing everything he can to be the best quarterback. And he might, but we really don't know that. And that's why you have to, as a quarterback, you got to make sure the perception is what you want it to be. Or somebody else write your narrative.
If they're trying to win, they got a funny way of showing it. We have a team to give away for the fan mock draft. I'll tell you why they got a funny way of showing it coming up at 9:02. And at 9:22, if you think what I said about Lonnie Chisenhall was dumb, oh, wait till you get a load of this conversation. It's Ken Carman. It's Coach Lance on the Fan.
This
Go over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Listen to 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn app.
Boy, if they're trying to win, they got a funny way of showing it. That in just a moment, because right now we got to give away a football team. We are looking for the winners, or a winner. Caller number 5, 216-474-0092. Caller number 5, you're going to be named one of the 32 GMs, or one of the GMs for our 32 picks at our 2026 Fan Mock Draft. That's April 16th, game on, located on Lorraine Road in fabulous North Olmsted. Plus, you're going to get some exclusive Bud Light gear. I'm not calling it swag. I'm not a shock jock dude in the 90s.
Merch. Go merch.
I'm going to call it gear. It's gear and a buffet dinner. It's at this event. You got to be 21 and older, though. So I'm sorry. If you're 20 years old, it's too young to be a beer drinking. Sorry. You got to wait till next year to try to win a team. Caller 5, 216-474-0092. Coach Lance is holding the bowl right now. Which I'm
looking at the picks that we've given away so far.
Yeah.
But there's still 2 Browns picks out there.
There's still 2 Browns picks.
Yeah,
don't look in that bowl.
I don't even know there's a bowl here.
Don't look in that bowl.
You got to know there's a bowl there. You're going to be drawing.
That's just.
Okay, caller 5. We're going to wait and see who it is.
Eventually, John.
It's going to happen quick. Well, John wants to know everybody's zodiac sign, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not a winner." I'm like, "Okay, John, do we have him yet?" Let's get a name and a face. We got to get moving here, John. Here we go.
You got him.
Is that it? All right. Nick in Fairview Park. Hello.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Congratulations, Nick.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you trying to win, and I appreciate you winning. And now you get to go to the Fan Mock Draft. Do you want to know your team?
Yes, let's do it.
Coach Lance, you are on TV. You're on YouTube Live. Absolutely free on 92.3 The Fan, by the way.
Mixing them up.
I want you to mix them up. They're seeing your hands move. They're seeing them. Oh, you let a team slip, but you put him in. He's not looking.
Nope.
He's not looking. All right, here we go. Pick a team. Here we are. The Denver Broncos at pick number 30.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it.
Okay. Wait a minute. He has pick number 30, but this says Miami on the internet.
Worry about it.
Okay, he's got the Broncos. All right, you know what? You guys figure it out.
They traded Jalen Waddle, right?
Yeah,
I believe that's what the trade was.
Oh, it must have been printed before.
You'll be picking at pick 30 for whoever the hell's taking that pick. You get to take that pick though. Nick, we're going to put you on hold.
Yeah, Nick, you get free Bud Light gear, and you get the buffet dinner, and you can do all sorts of crazy things over there. I don't make the rules around here, so you can do whatever you want.
You can go back and retroactively trade Joe Thomas to the Broncos.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's the fun of it. Nick, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yep, thank you.
Put Nick on hold. Yeah, it said 30. I go, I don't think they had that pick. And I look and I go, no, the Dolphins got that pick after the Waddle trade. That's going to be a game on April 16th, Lorraine Road, North Olmsted. You get the exclusive Bud Light gear. It's a fantastic time. I've hosted it. I've been a part of it. I've had a lot of fun with it. You guys will have a lot of fun with it, too.
Is Darryl commissioner again?
I don't know if Darryl's commissioner again. I have no idea. Darryl usually makes a pretty good commitment. I think it's become kind of tradition.
I think he's got to be there.
It's my intro to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, man, it's going to be a good time. All right, can I go back to the quarterback thing real quick? Let me break my rule for just a second. Drew Aller to me is a non-starter just because he's from here. I think that he needs to go to a place, one, that has a good foundation. So if he goes day 2, I hope he goes to a stable franchise that has been in the playoffs for multiple years and already has a starting quarterback in front of him. Has a quarterback that they are comfortable with in front of him. The other part of it is that I don't think bringing him back to his hometown is really great considering how things went at Penn State. I was defensive of him at Penn State. I wasn't a big fan of his play caller. I'd been calling that since the guy was in Buffalo, but regardless, every now and then you get it right. I think that he just needs to settle and get to a place that is going to be helpful to him. It is also not fair of me when I hear Todd Monken. I'm going to ask Owen to play a clip that I didn't get him ready for because I was so damn focused on the mock draft. It doesn't help me when I hear Todd Monken talk about these quarterbacks and the QBs that he's talked to and hasn't talked to, hasn't interacted with. So now I think about, you got a guy who was without a team. You have a guy who's fired who picked him. Now it feels like he's further away. And it just leads me to think, you go, gosh, you get to day 3, pick 6, 24, 39, 70. I kind of want some impact there. Obviously, it's lessering on the impact there as you get from day 1 to day 2. You get day 3, 107 in round 4. Then you got 2 fifths, a 6th, and a 7th. Kind of makes me want to kick around a quarterback and see, all right, can we put it to it? Because when I hear this from Todd Monken, it doesn't give me much hope in one of the 3 guys that are in the room right now.
What's been your first impressions of Shedeur, and how do you evaluate him in the quarterback competition?
Well, it's too early to really evaluate him, other than it's been great that he's been in the building. It's refreshing to see a player that recognizes where he's at and where he wants to get to.
And Gabriel hasn't been in the building?
As far as I know, he has not. I have not seen Dylan yet. Deshaun was in early when I got the job, so I got a chance to sit down with him.
All right, what I'm saying isn't fair. I know it's not fair, but the perception is going to be reality to a lot of people. You got a coach that there was a time when Hugh took Cody Kessler, I knew and said on the radio, he's covering for people. I don't think he wanted him. Kevin wanted Dylan Gabriel. Everything I know, Kevin wanted Dylan Gabriel. Kevin ain't here no more. And it just feels like Dylan Gabriel's been kind of maligned. And I'd like to go further, but I kind of want some reasons why Dylan Gabriel hasn't been there before I go shooting my mouth off. Has he reached out to Monken? Has he talked to Monken? He didn't say he was in the building, so I'm assuming that they haven't spoken. I mean, Deshaun and him have spoken. Obviously, he and Shedeur have spoken. And it just leads me to believe, like, hey, man, this is just a programmatic non-fit, okay? And we're probably going to go in a different direction here. And so, yeah, I got to open up the manila folder, and I got to look at day 3 guys that I'd like to bring in. And, okay, let's see if we either got a camp arm here or we can put this guy on the 53-man. That's kind of how I feel. It's not fair, but it's how I feel, Coach.
Well, I think there's enough for me. I'm not on board, and here's why. First of all, there's a lot of coach talk there, and I've done it before myself, when you say it's too early to evaluate. So when he says that, even though he's in the building, that's that good vibe. That's that putting out the perception you want people to have. And when you're a quarterback, you're a head coach, or you're a coordinator, you either fall in line or somebody else writes your narrative. Whether the narrative is positive or negative, somebody else will write it. And unfortunately for Dylan, not being in the building, it's going to be a negative. Now, as compared to for a couple things. First of all, I like Dylan Gabriel. I've gone on record saying I thought he was a good pick. However, I think he's a good pick in a system offense. This is no longer a system offense, so I think he could struggle in this offense. That being said, I think there's so many holes on this offense, and there's such depth at certain positions, tight end and receiver, 2 of them, that you don't waste a pick. For me, I would go out and get Nussmeier if he's there later. But for me, I'm taking another tight end. I'm taking another play. Zachariah Branch will be around day 3. Skylar Bell out of UConn's will be there on day 3. There's guys who could touch the ball, make plays with it. There's, Nick was talking about Oscar Delp, who I have in my top 10, high in my top 10, might not even be drafted. There's guys out there that you got to go get offensively, maybe deal with your quarterback situation a little bit, but that's where the Browns have put themselves. They got to go get playmakers regardless of position. Those 2 positions just happen to be deep this year, which helps, which is very helpful.
So you wouldn't consider a quarterback at all?
I would consider Nussmeier if he's around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That would be my.
But I don't know if I don't think he's going to be there day 3.
So no, then I'm not bringing in. I'm bringing in an arm then. And I'm going to if I don't like Dylan Gabriel and I'm getting rid of Dylan Gabriel, which I don't think they should, but if they were to, I would understand. Then I'm letting those 2 fight it out, and I'm bringing in a veteran arm and I'm bringing in a camp arm, and I'm letting those 2 really go at it. But no, I'm not with the holes on this offense and you can get great athletic tackles that will be starters in a year or starters in 2 years. That's what you're wanting. You're thinking traits on day 3.
Yeah.
There are traits with tackles. There are traits with tight ends. There are traits with receivers that really carry over on day 3 that you can get a lot of value with. So if it's not Nussmeier, I'm out.
I know that this comes off petty, but I just think I'm saying the quiet part out loud when he says what he says about Dylan Gabriel. I'm trying to see through it. I know Jonathan got really excited about the Shedeur stuff and what he said. I don't know if that's going to help him be the starting quarterback, but I don't think anybody's thinking of Dylan Gabriel being the starting quarterback, frankly. And it's like, well, if you weren't my pick and this isn't your offense and you're not really making any FaceTime with me, what are we really trying to accomplish here? Now, I don't think they're just going to outright cut him. I think they'll try to get something for him going into 2027 in that draft where maybe they can get a 6th or a 7th round pick for Dylan Gabriel. You might go to camp with 4 guys. I just don't know who's going to be getting the throws and who's going to be getting the reps, and obviously that's a circular conversation that we can save for another day. It's not fair, but I think the vast majority of a lot of fans happen to think, well, Shedor's there. You can like, not like Shedor. Deshaun Watson has talked to him. You can like or not like Deshaun, and I know I'm right about that because a lot of people were wondering where the hell Deshaun has been until the latest workout video dropped. So you know he's working out. You had heard he's working out. Now you've seen it. I don't know much about Dylan Gabriel. I don't know much about his offseason. And so it does come off, I think, to a lot of fans as if maybe you don't want to be here anymore. If you don't want to be here anymore, then maybe we'll just kick the tires on another guy there. But you're right. There's plenty. I think there's good offensive line depth here. I think there's other good offensive depth that you could find there that you could possibly use on day 3, rounds 4 through 7, that can still help you out within this football team. Because I'm still looking for impact on days 1 and 2. Obviously, I want a day 1 starter at 6 overall. I want a guy who can definitely I'm thinking start at number 24 overall, even though if we're talking about offensive linemen, that might be a little bit of a mix there. I think I could go right back to the defense and get some help. You mentioned Grant Delpit and his future with the Cleveland Browns. Maybe on day 2, I can go right back to it. We'll see. Day 3, maybe there isn't a pick to waste with some of the talent that's out there. But if I'm just picking up some vibes, and vibes are not always correct, if I'm picking those up, it's like, well, maybe I am back in the market for a young quarterback there who wants to help out to it. 216-474-0092. I'm going to try to get to some of you guys, and I've been talking about this all morning. I finally got to get it off my chest. I will give up a lot to bring LeBron back to the Cavs. I'm not sure I'd give this up. Somebody made a mention about a possible move that you have to hear. About one of your biggest fan favorites coming up here at 9:21 on The Fan.
DeWine, weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows. You can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
So, I can't believe I'm actually considering not doing this. Cavs Conversation brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside Hard Iced Tea that ask you to please enjoy hard iced tea responsibly from the people at Surfside. Last night's defense was a total abomination. I would call it even worse, but I don't think that I think they were doing it on purpose. I don't think that was by accident.
It's disturbing that you say that.
Well,
I'm just going to tell you. It's
Coach,
disturbing that you would say any team in any sport
NBA
on purpose. That's disturbing.
I think they didn't want to win. I think that
cringeworthy.
I really think watching, if I can say this, because again, I told people during about last night, I had a dream that Ted Bundy came into the bedroom at 2 a.m. I woke up, it was like 1:59, and it wasn't even the witching hour at 3 a.m. Wasn't the devil's hour. So I was like, well, I'm up. I hurried up, took a shower, went, watched a bit of last night. And if I noticed the difference, it felt to me like they were more than welcome in the Utah game to lose to Utah. I felt that they kind of wanted to save it for the Lakers. And then they just couldn't lose to Utah. That's just how I felt. The defense was so inconsistent, so bad at times against Utah. Utah's a lousy team. And I'm thinking, man, I'm watching that, and that comparison I made is like, I think they were wanting to get up for the Lakers game, and they ended up winning against Utah, and then it's like, well, okay, we got Max Strus playing again. We got Jarrett playing again. I think they wanted to ratchet it up against the Lakers, and they're still trying to manipulate this, so they're going to go, okay, fine, I guess we're going to lose against the Lakers. It's not a comforting thing to say. It's a true thing, I think. You hate it. You hate it. And maybe it will bite them in the ass. Maybe it will.
Do you think they're in a better position this year going into the playoffs or last year?
This year, they got a better player with James Harden. They got
So all the stuff that...
no offense to Darius. He's been playing well, but they got the better player in James Harden. I think they're better positioned now.
Okay, so even though they were rolling last year going in, you think they're just in a better spot because of one guy?
Yes, because I think their talent can carry them. I think their talent can carry them. Well, I mean, if they play defense like they played last night, they're not going to win anything. But I don't think they're going to play defense like they played last night. So I think that they can carry them to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's where I'm at on that.
Favorite against the Celtics, yes or no?
No, God, no.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
Is that out of line, Owen? No.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Just making sure. No, not a favorite against the Celtics.
The Celtics have not been, over the last 3 weeks, what we thought they were going to turn into once Tatum came back and what we saw when we played them on a Sunday a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
But they're still the Celtics. I mean, they're still what you would call, the blue blood of the Eastern Conference right now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's two teams that I would trade our rosters with right now. Oklahoma City and Boston. That's it. Lima's willing to go as far as saying this was during the podcast, the emerging podcast scene, which you can find on the Ken Carman Show page at 923thefan.com. I know it's changed. I know some people have sent us emails. You can find it, the Ken Carman Show page with Anthony Lima at 923thefan.com.
Go on the Odyssey app.
Go on
the
Odyssey.
Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. You listen to all of these segments.
Bingo.
And then there's one, and it'll say podcast in capital letters.
Yesterday,
then listen to that one. That's the podcast version.
Yesterday, we talked about what we would put at Burke Lake Run Airport if they close it. Also, my IQ, which I took a test in college. It can't be that high anymore. You can listen to it on the free Odyssey app.
You had a good score, though? Good.
It was above average.
That's impressive. I think I'd be way below average. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, no, it's honestly, I remember the test. I was like, all this is critical thinking. If you just go through the motions or go through the steps, you should be fine. I was like, I think anybody who has a low one, they're probably just not going through the steps. Either way. I actually won free dinner because I had a higher IQ. Now I'm just giving away what you guys can hear.
And that's why, Lance. That's why he has a high IQ. Here's free food, fatty.
I will lock in and focus for free pie from Eaton Park. That's the way that's going to go. So what the hell was I even talking about here? Where was I going with every of that? Because then I started thinking about the Eaton Park pie.
Well, we were talking Cavs.
Yes. So there's something being thrown out there. Before I play this, I want you guys to all know this wasn't my thought. This was not my thought. Because this is where I was going. I said the Celtics and Oklahoma City are the only two rosters I would consider. Lima threw in San Antonio. Part of this was in the podcast yesterday. That's why the podcast got brought up. He said he'd throw San Antonio in there. Wemby, that's
it though. That's
a tall order. I said, okay, I see your San Antonio. Maybe I'd kick around Los Angeles, the Lakers. However, Dave McMenamin of ESPN had a wild idea because Lakers are a 50-win team now. And they're a lot better than a lot of people thought they were going to be. And maybe it's going to be a little bit harder to get LeBron out of L.A. than some people thought. So I'm going to point this out. This isn't my idea. Go ahead and play it.
Yeah, a source in our story said that would be the cleanest fit. There could be a sign-and-trade scenario that the Cavs and Lakers would be able to pull off, which would get LeBron James more money potentially than, say, the mid-level exception if he stayed with the Lakers. We know that the Lakers have Jackson Hayes and DeAndre Ayton in the middle, but how about all-star center Jared Allen in a sign-and-trade return from the Cavs to L.A.? And we know the Cavs and the Lakers front offices are the same as they were back in 2018 when they orchestrated a deal that ended up clearing cap space for the Lakers to outright sign LeBron James as a free agent that summer. So that's a possibility there. And as you mentioned, the retirement tour aspect, no other place would bring the nostalgia and the full circle story to LeBron going back to Cleveland for a third stint.
Audio courtesy ESPN. That's Dave McMenamin. He's lived here before. He's covered the Cavs in Cleveland before, and he's been on our show I think about a month ago. I would have never even considered it would be a talking point before the season. Jared Allen sign and trade with LeBron James. Jared Allen's playing his ass off. Jared Allen has been fantastic for this team. Jared Allen has given me a lot of hope for the postseason. And I know that he's had some rough postseasons, and he said some things that did not sit well with Cavs fans after those postseason series. But ever since James Harden's arrival, he has been sensational. He's made us worry a little bit about Evan Mobley, even though his numbers are through the roof. Save the Chicago game, Evan Mobley's numbers are through the roof. There's a lot of pressure on Evan Mobley. And here I am. And I'm going, let's not overthink it, Kenny. It's LeBron James. It's LeBron James. He can turn it on when he wants to. I know he's a little long in the tooth, but you'd be playing alongside of Donovan Mitchell. You'd be playing alongside of James Harden. He doesn't have to keep it up the entire season. I don't want to turn it into would you trade Jared Allen for LeBron James, because I think a lot of people might take it the wrong way, but I want to even know if it's considered by a lot of folks, because I cannot believe I'm hesitating about Jared Allen for LeBron James. And that might come off pretty stupid to everybody. That might come off stupid to Owen. It might come off stupid to Coach Lance. Yes, real quick, Owen, before you, I want to hear Coach Lance's thought on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, here's my thing. Since Harden's got here, I have absolutely fallen in love with Jared Allen. I think he's a guy who finally has somebody who can get him the ball where he can be successful. I love his energy. In basketball, it's like any other sport. You got to have chemistry.
Yeah.
I think with him, with Harden, there's something about his chemistry. Now, obviously, I've been on board with good or bad. I'm waiting to the playoffs, but I think this is the best Jared Allen we have going into the playoffs. I look forward. I would be a no on that trade.
You would not trade Jared Allen for LeBron James?
No, I would not. The
icon.
I would not. And that's something because
arguably greatest player to ever do it, easily the greatest player of the generation.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with, at this point in time, I'd go no. The only guy I would get rid of Jared Allen for would be, obviously would include other would be, you're talking Giannis, but I love LeBron James. I mean, I always have. I think he's great. But right now, the way he's playing, and if you're trying to find chemistry and not reach, I'm a no. I think Jared Allen is a really good piece of what they're trying to do.
All right. I'm sorry, Owen. I was playing traffic cop. What were you going to say?
I think you're alluding to you would not trade Jared Allen for.
I can't believe I'm even thinking of it.
Yeah,
of not trading Jared Allen for LeBron.
Brought it up, but how long? You wouldn't have said that before James Harden came here.
No.
Because James Harden has elevated Jared Allen's game.
Yes.
My problem is James Harden going to be here to elevate Jared Allen's game next season? Is he going to be here in 2 seasons to elevate?
No.
So now they can totally change this with how this playoff goes. If Jared Allen just shows up and he looks like, hey, get him anybody that can pick and roll with him and throw him. I mean, they said it last night. Kenny said after Utah, he goes, we got tight ends in the middle right now just catching little lobs and going and scoring. But Jared Allen, if you've got another guy that can do that with him, I think you keep him. My problem with it is I've only seen this level of we must keep Jared Allen at all costs for the last month and a half since James Harden's been here. So with that being said, I think I would have to do it because it is LeBron James, because he's still, yes, he's old. He's still one of the top players in the NBA. And I don't know if we're keeping James Harden after this season as well. I mean, he's got a player option. He's probably not going to take that. If I've got a chance to bring in LeBron James, I think I'm bringing in LeBron James. You're still going to have Evan Mobley in this scenario. You're still going to have Donovan Mitchell in this scenario.
This is honestly why, I'll do it for the cameras. With my thoughts, I'm kind of a cat burglar. I'm kind of walking through a minefield right now. Because this is something I know I would do where I love Jared Allen. And Jared Allen has overplayed his contract. He is worth his play as much. That's why, when people have talked about trading him in the past, it's like the Cavaliers. And I didn't see it 4 years ago. I did not see it. He has overplayed his contract to the point where the Cavs are like, no. We all thought he was out of here on the first thing smoking at one point. No, he might be the last one to go by the time it's all said and done. He is a major, major, major piece to this puzzle. And he has proven it now that you have James Harden in there. He has proven it because James Harden is an incredible basketball player, and he's at a different place in his career.
He's proven it in the regular season,
yes,
Ken.
Yes, well,
he's still, and he will always be to me until he proves it otherwise, the guy that said the lights are too bright.
That is why I am hesitant to say no now. Because if I say absolutely not now, I know the postseason's coming around. And I know what they tend to do in the postseason. And he was honest, he was right when he said it, but no one wanted to hear it. And it made everybody upset. And so if they go out there, this is how this is going to go. I penciled them into the finals. If they don't get into the finals, you guys are going to be out there and wanting to trade everybody. With the way that this regular season has gone, guys, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Lima and I, after every show about the Cavs, are going, I cannot believe it. I mean, they're treating them like the Browns. I cannot believe it. And I told Lima, I says, I go for it. If the Browns started competing right now, if they had a 11-win season right now, I bet by year 4, people will be going, all right, are you guys going to actually get over the hump here? Lima goes, absolutely not. They will never be that way. I go, I didn't think Bills fans would ever be that way. Go ask them what they were thinking about Buffalo going into this one. And guess what they're going to be thinking going into the next one? I think it's a natural thing, but I can't believe how dour some folks are. So if they don't get to the finals, people are going to be really pissed, and he might tell the truth, and they might want him out of here. And I'm looking at it going, man, he's been fantastic. But Owen's right. He's been fantastic in the regular season.
But I don't think he's been to this level, has he? I mean, obviously.
It's a regular season.
But you're right.
The same reason. It's the same reason that I'm happy that they traded Darius Garland. And James Harden was a great exception. I still wanted to do it last year when Jimmy Butler was available. I thought that was the trade to make at the time. Butler's now injured and he's out for the season, so that doesn't matter. But them running out the same roster year after year and going, it's going to be different this time, guys. I know better. My eyes have told me differently. My heart's told me differently as well. And I'm ready to see what the James Harden / Donovan Mitchell Cavaliers can do in the playoffs. And that might change my feelings on wanting to move on from Jared Allen for LeBron James. It's for LeBron James. If it was Giannis, probably the only other one, or for some reason Wemby was part of a trade, right? Like those, it's got to be exceptional players for you to be able to move on from what they have going right now.
I think that one of these two guys, people are going to want to move on from at the end of this postseason. I think it's either going to be Jared Allen. I think it's going to be Evan Mobley. It's one of those two guys because what you've already proven with we just got to be honest here, and you're helping me be honest with this, Owen. And I think that you got to see it too, Coach. I'm sorry. They have proven There is no tomorrow. You make a trade like that for a 36-year-old great player like that. Like Nick is beside himself every day he's hosting. He's off this week, but Nick has been beside himself every day. Like, you're giving up your future. You're giving up your future. Once you trade for 36-year-old men, you're done with the future. It is about the right here, right now, and maybe next year. So if it comes down to next year, if I'm sitting here saying there is no tomorrow, I'm sorry. I got to make a move for one of these guys, and I could go through a regular season. LeBron's as smart as anybody. I could go through a regular season, try to take off some of the heat, try to take off some of the gas, load manage when I have to, play when he has to, all the other things that you have to take into consideration because it will probably be his last season, but you're also adding expectation to it. So you're adding expectation to it, unlike a lot of different guys. So you're going to be on this goodbye tour plus expectation. There's only a few guys that can handle it. I think those three guys, Donovan, James Harden, LeBron, can handle it. And I think if it either Jared Allen or Evan Mobley, they would bring them along and they would be just fine. I still can't say no to LeBron James at 41 years old, about to be 42 years old, even when I have a guy who I love in Jared Allen, because I don't know how this postseason is going to shake out. And I have a feeling if I say absolutely not now, I have a feeling I'm going to be changing my mind by the end of the postseason.
Well, I've kind of looked at it.
Owen is right.
I've kind of looked at it the whole year. The expectations were we're waiting for the playoffs. So I've done that all year where I'm kind of waiting for the playoffs to see what happens. Now, your argument was good because it goes back to my football argument. I like to win right now. And I'm not against the Cavs going to get hard and saying we got to win right now. So even though I love Jared Allen, I think there's a hint of I just like him as a human being as well.
I agree. He's probably my favorite Cavalier.
So
Jared?
Yeah.
Probably.
So I agree with that. Maybe there's a little bit of I like the guy. I like his as a teammate, as a coach. I like how he's unself, all those kind of things. But the idea of I'm going to win right now, I will never argue with that. I will never argue with we're putting the foot on the gas.
Oh, that's what
right
this
now.
move would be. Jalen Tyson is quickly catching up. I think he's going to be my favorite Cavalier at some point. But I think Jared Allen's probably my favorite. 216-474-0092. I have a conspiracy theory for you guys, and I have to run it by a coach to see whether or not it's true or not. Ken Carman, Coach Lance in for Tone. It's time to put on tinfoil hats. Coming up at 9:42 on The Fan.
Right. into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
I have a conspiracy theory for everybody coming up in moments. However, Henry and Akron, once again, about the LeBron conversation, I think. I tell you. I can't believe it. I'm not. There's like, let me think about it, considering it. I would have never considered it back in the day.
I think Owen said it best, though, like the last month, if he doesn't do it, it's not even up for debate.
Yeah, that's how good Jared Allen has been. And plus, guys, I think this is a stickier wicket than we think. I know that we don't get a chance to watch a lot of Lakers because they're a West Coast team. They're a 50-win team. I mean, they're cooking, and they got Luka on their team. Like this is a team that's on the up and up again, and maybe LeBron just decides, you know what, just go stick around here. I don't know if they want him to stay, but he might just look at it and go, I'm just going to stick around here. What are you going to do? Tell LeBron no? You're going to tell him that he has to leave? I know the Lakers are the Lakers, but I don't think that they would do that. And he might just say, hey, I got this team exactly how I want it. Or he could look at it and go, yeah, let's go back east. San Antonio ain't going anywhere except up. Oklahoma City, I know that they're going to have to break that team up in a couple years, but I might not be around here in a couple years, so yeah, maybe I'm just going to go back east. I can deal with Boston one more time. Maybe he'll decide that. 216-474-0092. All right, Henry and Akron, go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call. Now, I got a...
Are you on speaker? Are you on speakerphone?
Yeah, let me take you off.
Take me off speakerphone. Okay. There are rules here.
You good now, right? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yeah.
After that game last night, and LeBron showed me, he basically said, this team don't deserve to be in the playoffs. After LeBron, he went off on the Cavaliers. That told me right there the Cavs don't need to be coming out of the East if they couldn't beat the Lakers last night.
What?
Yeah. They should have beat the Lakers clearly. I thought they would go clinch last night. I believed it, but they didn't.
So just because of last night, you're out?
You know what?
You think that they were playing their? You think that they were playing their best? Do you think that they were giving their best effort on defense? I don't.
I don't know. I mean, like that's another. One of the teachers just gave me that same spiel this morning.
He still sounds like he's down a hallway. Yeah. All right. He said I was on speaker. He ain't on speaker anymore. I'm sorry, Henry. You sound like you're down a hallway. I can't do that. I wish I could give you, but I wish I could give him more time. He was upset, and I like upset guys, but damn it, I couldn't give him any more time because it sounded like he was through a sewer drain there. So I couldn't do that. I'm not giving him a pass for yesterday because it'll end up costing him in the long run, but I think they were playing half-ass defense. I don't think that they were particularly trying to win. I think that they're trying to get this thing set up, which I know that you don't trust, and I know not a lot of fans trust them, but that's what I think that they were doing. And I'm going to have to ask veterans to be veterans getting ready for this because I think they're going to get this thing set up the way they want it. I think they're going to get a 4-5, and you'll end up playing Toronto. At least I got to look at it again to make sure. Toronto ain't going to be an easy series, but I don't think it's going to be. Oh, no, they got Atlanta right now as this thing sits right now.
It's like a half game between Toronto and Atlanta.
Okay, so it's not going to be the easiest one, but it's not going to be the hardest one. Detroit, I think they are a tremendous matchup for. It's expected that you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but there is a motion in the ocean here. How you lose to Boston is going to count to a lot of people. You lose in 6 or 7 games, I think we're a little bit more patient. Maybe we're a little bit more positive about the Cavaliers. You get beaten 4, me some moving going on here. 216-474-0092. Todd Monken spoke yesterday. I want you guys to hear this because I want to put on tinfoil hats with everybody before we go. Coach Lance is with us. I got to run this by a coach before I go ahead and I put it on. Monken would asked about why reps just can't be divided evenly. Coach!
I wouldn't say they're going to be evenly dispersed, but we'll definitely disperse them to give ourselves a chance to at least evaluate who we have on the roster, whoever that might be. What we've seen in the past and where the year ended last year.
So does that mean Shore gets the bulk of the reps?
I'm not ready to say that yet. I just said the reps can't be divided up evenly. There's no chance it can be divided up evenly, at least on a daily basis. Well, I think there's always competition, irrespective of the number of reps a player gets. The number of reps a player gets doesn't eliminate competition. It just, in a given day, Let's say, for instance, you want to see a quarterback with the first group, a second group, a third group. Well, are you going to divide those reps up evenly? Are you going to divide up the reps everywhere evenly? I don't see it that way. I don't see it. That doesn't mean there's not competition. I just see it as in a given day, and it'll be daily in terms of who gets what reps and when. Because we certainly want to allocate our reps to the players we feel like are going to give us the best chance to win.
Conspiracy theory time. Shedeur seems like a good egg. I got nothing against him, obviously. He's given him a birthday gift. Now, Todd Monken is Mr. No frills, no goofiness whatsoever. I don't think there's a chance that he might have taken it the wrong way. Like, you're not going to butter me up and get this job type of thing. You don't think he's thinking that, do you?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. I didn't like how you didn't immediately come out and say no.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say... this is kind of you said, first of all, you said it best. Shedeur is a great kid, and some of the issues people have with him because he does kid things. He's on TikTok, he's on social media. That's what kids do. So, no, I don't think he took it the wrong way. I don't think he took it anyway. I think he thought of it as probably a nice gesture. But in terms of winning, those things go out the door.
Okay, but still, let me throw it to you like this. Do you think he's maybe making sure that if Shedeur gets the number one spot, Shedeur earns it, and it doesn't look like it's handed to Shedeur? Because there might be some people out there who they hate when we're talking about him. They hate that we're talking about him starting the season. They would rather have Deshaun Watson play. Deshaun Watson is going to be a controversial figure to start the season if he starts the season. Maybe he's just trying to make sure Shedeur Sanders competes at his absolute highest level to possibly win the job so he can make the right decision on all this. Because when I got a lot of people out there. I mean, hell, we didn't even play the Jason Fitz. But Peter Schrager, I think he's been pretty positive about Shedeur. But everybody else, a lot of it is just, hey, it looks like it's going to be Watson. It looks like it's going to be Watson, this, that, and the other. Maybe he's making sure that Shedeur gives him his absolute best, and if he decides to pick Shedeur, he's not going to catch a bunch of hell being, you're the patsy for the ownership, and you're not making your own decision. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a conspiracy theory. You don't like it, throw it right on back, Coach.
Well, I'm going to throw it back here because I'm going to say this.
Well, fine then. Hell, the show's over. Have a good day. No, go ahead.
I'm going to say this. With idea that I'm going to get back to you. I like to go to every practice. I like to see what they're doing during 2 days. And I'm looking forward to last year they said it was a quarterback competition. The way Kevin sets up his practice, not wrong or right, it's really hard to compete at a quarterback level because no one is live. So I will look forward to when they say reps aren't equal, you can still get a look. If everyone around them is a little bit more live, I will have an honest opinion of what you're saying in the conspiracy theory. If he plays better, I'll go with it. If not, I'm against the conspiracy theory.
Are you going to give us charts, Coach? Are we going to get some sort of chart? Is there going to be a Lance Riseland and Lance Falland?
No, there will be no charts for me. No, that I can promise you.
Is a 100% great idea he just gave you.
There's no.
If you do a show
Riseland.
If you do a show consistently, they're coming up at 7:45. We'll do Riseland and Fallen with Coach Riseland.
Pretty solid.
That's a producer right there. That's a producer.
That's what he does.
The risers and the fallers with Coach Riseland. Even though I call him Coach Riz. Yeah, but it doesn't go off the same. All right, thanks. You've done wonderfully.
Well, thanks for having me. It was awesome. You guys are fantastic.
We got Spencer German Potato Salad with us tomorrow.
Lima, he was in Arizona, so he'll be here now.
Lima will be back on Friday, which means we will do Coming In Hot at 9:45 on Friday. We'll do the whole thing, too. There won't be other hosts in here bogarting your time.
You guys don't go Coming In Hot when one's not here? Is that what the deal is?
He'll do it when I'm not here, but I won't do it when he's not here because I'm not lazy like he is. Have a great day! Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.